Court FM and Court, and that is Mizani 254. If it is your first time to be here, feel free to join us. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel, and also you can listen in by simply going onto Google Play, get to download the app that is Court FM Kenya app. And simply, if you are having problems getting that app, you can log on to www.kotfm.co.ke and get to interact with us. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. It is about Linda Mwananchi, and this is a very not so, how will I put it? It's not a new name to most of you who are listeners and viewers for that matter. And therefore, you should have come across it in one way or another. And that's why tonight we are very privileged to be joining ladies and gentlemen from different tiers of this talk. And shortly, we will be inviting our guest speakers, that is Obaya Onyengo, and not forgetting Noela. And she will also be accompanied by one of her brigade teammates, that is Olive Ambrose. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. You can tag us at Likiani_KE. Sorry, that is at Likiani_Eli or Eli_Likiani. You can also follow us at CodeFM_KE at Mizani 254, where the scales of balance are restored and meaningful conversations thrive. Obed tells me he'll be underway in a few minutes from now, so feel free to engage us as we try to have this conversation. So, the political scores are being settled in one way or another, and so are the targets for 2027. One will argue that if you are going to win an election, one of the most important part is to be able to create a constituency. And that's why probably we want to find out tonight from the guests that are joining us, what have they been up to? What is this Linda Mwananchi issue all about? Is it redefining national politics, or is it business as usual? And therefore, I just want to invite our speakers, because I see them already on the panel, to take up the mic in order for us to progress with the conversation. And again, if you would love to engage with us through our WhatsApp line, you can do so by simply texting us +254 714 308 277. Again, that is +254 714 308 277. Make sure the voice note or message does not exceed at least 2 minutes. Say where you're tuned in from and your contribution to that matter. If questions, direct them to our guests. Once again, you might be interested to find out who are our guests, so I'm going to do the honors and invite you to find out who we are speaking to. First on our speakers panel is Noela Olukere, who is the president, Linda Mwananchi Young Women. We do have Mr. Obaya Onyengo, who is the Secretary General, Changemakers National Alliance. And last but not least, we have Olive Ambrose, Organizing Secretary, Linda Mwananchi Young Women. Well, it's always a panel here, but I can tell you the panel tonight, it's well balanced, and we are looking forward to that conversation. If we do have our speakers, probably we need to start off the meeting. Let's just find out if any of you can be able to hear me. Obets, I don't know if you're able to join the mic. Looks like we are already struggling with the session with the guest. If you can hear me, Obets. Obets, by any chance, can you hear me? Just give me 100%. Okay, that looks like a yes to me. Let's find out if we are able to have the other speakers on the panel. Noela, I see you are already on the mic. If you can just try to let me know you are ready to speak to us. Fine. As we try to look at them, let's just try and take some, some quick check on what happened over the weekend. So you probably saw pictures and film coming from Kisumu County. And to those of you who know Kisumu very well, you will have noticed a very synonymous space. That is the Kondele area. A lot of Boda Boda riders thronging this capital, that is not the capital, but Kisumu city. And I also saw a lot of them in threes on one Buddha Buddha. One would have said probably this is another welcoming party, but looks like it wasn't a welcoming party for the guests that were coming to visit. That is courtesy of Linda Mwananchi. We had a lot of voices shouting tutam, and one we imagine already, we already know why this was happening. But unlike what many expected, in fact, the Linda Mwananchi group was able to call in a lot of numbers. And that's why maybe one would be wondering, why are the deep fakes emerging on the internet? Why is it that it looks like bloggers and possibly opposing sides are working very hard to ensure they are able to manage the narrative? And that's why probably once we have our guests online, we'll definitely be able to allow them to speak to us. I want to check with you, Obeds, once again, if you can hear me. Good evening to you, sir. All right. Looks like we don't have our speakers online. Let's just find out. Olive, if you can hear me, good evening to you once again. Olive, can you read me?
Hi, Eli.
Yes, good evening to you, Olive. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you? I'm
Um,
trying to adjust my. Give me a moment.
all right, all right. You know, this is very interesting. You know, when you're having live sessions, anything can happen, but we try our as much as possible to ensure we are having the best of the conversations. Let me just try and find out if Noela is able to catch me. Noela, good evening to you.
Good evening, Ellie and fellow Kenyans. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear. Karibu sana. Great to have you here.
Thank you so much, Ellie. It's also great to be here and interact with the fellow Kenyans. This evening, I'm speaking to you coming from Linda Mwananchi Young Women. And as Linda Mwananchi Young Women, we are here to Linda Wananchi Wote. Asante. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That is Noella, and Noella has some quite of work to do tonight. She'll be telling us why they think they are redefining national politics, and looking forward to that engagement with you, Noella. Let me see if we are able to catch Obeds. Obeds, just tell me you're able to read me because you've been struggling. Is that okay? Good. I know why Obed is unable to join the mic, but let's just give them time kindly as we try to start the conversation. Abaya is also joining us. Abaya, good evening to you. If you can read me, how are you doing, sir?
Good, good, and I hope you're doing well.
I am very well. Great to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me. I was settling. I could hear you, but I was taking some time to settle so that we can do this.
Definitely. And I hope you're settled in because we'd really love to jump into the conversation. I'm sure people have been waiting to hear Unalinda Nini.
Yes, I'm settled.
So let me just get this straight. You are a buyer, and not everyone knows a buyer. So if you take the onus to introduce yourself, and then we can jump straight into it.
So my name is Abayo Nyego. I'm a Gen Z. I'm around 26 years, and I'm the Secretary General of the Changemakers National Alliance. It was formally to be registered as a political party, but then the bureaucracies that you know very well at the office of the registrar of political parties, we couldn't register it as a party, but then now we decided to keep it as a movement. So right now I'm the acting secretary general, and we are allies of Linda Mwananchi because we do agree with what they are doing, the ideologies, and the new wave, and of course they're redefining the Kenyan politics. And above all, I'm an aspirant. I'm aspiring to be the senator for Kisii. God willing, I'll be representing the people of Kisii in the Senate. Thank you.
Karibu sana. Now we know who we are speaking to, and that's why I told you this is a very political conversation. Abaya, great to have you here, and I'm happy as a 26-year-old, you are doing already a lot of work. However, I would have wished you clarified why you think you are about. You're not certain about your age?
I am certain about my age because first of all, I was contemplating whether to say my full age, you know, but then I'm 26. I just turned 26 January.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm 26.
You know, that's important, and I'll tell you why, because at a later stage, we will get into that. Thank you very much, Abaya, and hoping to have a very engaging conversation. I see Obed is ready for us. Obed, good evening. Welcome.
Thanks, Eli. Sorry, been trying to settle, and I'm now able to have a conversation. I'm looking forward to this conversation, partly because of the situation and what is potentially in the country in terms of politics, and also in the recent times, like yesterday, uh, Linda Mwananchi prove that we can have a political rally that does not have any skirmishes, does not have any casualties or anybody getting hurt or dying. And it is because the police behaved. And I think it's possible that this can happen everywhere in the country. That said, I would like to hear what it is about Linda Mwananchi, especially about the young people involved, because I've seen quite a number of them. And looking at what the numbers in Kisumu yesterday, a good number when you could look at them, are young people. What does this mean for the country, and what is their place in ensuring that the change that they aspire for is possible? And having three young people to speak about what Linda Mwananchi is about, is it going to be about just the young people, or it's going to be about the whole country? And what is it that they would like to do if, for instance, there's an understanding that statecraft is really another aspect about it? It's possible to make the change, but then do we have the people who would be able to make that difference when it comes to governance? Remember, the current man at the helm made a lot of promises before he got into a position of power, but today he's struggling to do anything or say anything sensible. So it'll be interesting to hear. I look forward to this conversation. But I must admit that I'm a very glad person that young people are taking the lead and putting the government on its track and making it to account for what they're doing. And that's what is needed. They've really given Kenyans the impetus to be able to demand for accountability. And I think that's very important in the days going forward, because if you must see change, then young people must lead the way. Thanks, Eli.
Asante sana, Obed. You say if we must see change, then the young people must lead the way. And that's why I think we really have the best in terms of the panel of the night. You already have their names. Let's just confirm if Olive is ready for us, because Olive, we don't want to start the conversation and then you are joining in between.
Just a minute. Hi, Eli. I'm ready for you.
All right,
I
maybe
don't know if you
quick
can
one
hear me
there.
clearly.
You can take the opportunity to introduce yourself and let's
Oh,
get
yeah.
this started. Yes.
All right. My name is Olive Ambrose, and Noella here is my boss. The young women, Linda Mwananchi Young Women. I am the organizing secretary. Yeah.
Asante sana. Now you know what we are doing and who we are speaking to. It is the bigger picture. That's a hashtag. You can follow this live on radio, www.kotfm.co.ke. You can listen in and watch live on our X broadcast, YouTube, and definitely you can continue listening in through our X spaces. That said, ladies and gentlemen, let's have the bigger picture conversation.
Court FM. Let the music play.
Abaya, I want to start with you. You have been in this struggle. You have appeared on the streets, and now you are marshalling up numbers in big events in the name of politics. Why is it for you important as a young person, just at the age of 26, and deciding this is the way you want to go?
Thank you. That is a very good question to start with. As a 26-year-old, maybe someone somewhere could think that I would be pursuing my career. I would be sitting down with a family, or doing some things that go on with my life, maybe joining sports and stuff. But then after June 2020, I think there's some echo.
Ila, I request that
All
you
right,
mute your
I'm gonna
mic.
just
That's
do
the reason.
the needful, and apologies for that. Let's
Uh,
just
th-
reset that. Okay, go ahead, Babaya.
yeah, thank you. And from June 2024, I made a decision that I'm not going to stay back, just watch as, I was very comfortable. I was doing everything that I was doing at the moment, and life was going on well. But then when I looked around me, there was all these sorts of people that their life wasn't going on well. And you can agree with me that the levels of unemployment in this country are very, very high, and they keep on going high each and every other year. So I asked myself, so in as much as I'm earning, of course, I'm working, I'm very comfortable with my family and stuff. Why can't I join the rest in trying to secure a better future for my descendants? Because when you look at it keenly, our future has already been touched by the ruling class. And I said, I'm not going to sit down as I watch them touch the future of our descendants and even my son. Why am I saying this? The levels of unemployment are going high, but then it has never been given the attention that it needs to be given. People are graduating each and every year, but they are not securing jobs. The only thing they are told, you finish school and come and do Jenga out here. That is not the kind of future that we want to build. How are people going to get rich if you tell them that the only jobs we have for you after your graduation is Mjengo? That is after you've invested over 1 million shillings in pursuing a university degree. And then I said, this is not going to work. Let me join the rest. Let us struggle and let us fix this country and take it to where it is supposed to be. There are so many atrocities that have been committed by not just William Ruto himself, by Uhuru Kenyatta, and even by Mwai Kibaki, who's been praised as the most performed president. When you look at Uhuru Kenyatta and William Ruto, these are the people who I can say that was the beginning of the problems that we're experiencing as a country, because they are the ones who have overborrowed. They are the ones who started these things of dishing out, because the handouts were there, but then they normalized it. And now, instead of providing jobs for graduates, the only thing they can do is tell them, come to our gathering, come to our political arenas. And after that, after you listen to me, after you've given me the numbers, you'll go out and I'll give you 100 shillings. And then they don't think how these people are going to survive after that political rally. That is why I said, this is the moment now I need to join politics actively, because we tried actually actuating the constitution by going to the streets, trying to challenge the status quo, but then you saw what happened. We were killed. Many of us were left with, many of our friends were actually left with live injuries, and we do not know whether they are going to recover. And then we said, what are we going to do? And that was the genesis of my political journey. What else are we going to do? We've gone to the streets and they've killed us. And then now I said, let us join now active politics. Let us play the game that they're playing, because their game was politics. Let's play the active politics that they're playing. And that is how I got myself into politics. I've been working with leaders in the opposition, including the Honorable Kio Mtata. And we've been running an organization called Identity Yetu, which was meant to go around the country to sensitize youth in taking identity cards and then registering as voters. All in all, to summarize this and answer your question, you can agree with me that the country is not headed in the right direction. Even if your life could be well, but it's a time where we have to mind about the lives of others who've not had an opportunity that me and you maybe have, of putting food on the table. You can imagine someone somewhere who's graduated and they're out here tamarking day and night looking for jobs, but they can't find any. That is a worrying moment for each and every one of us. Because, of course, it's very well. The president is saying that we want to build roads. But can you build a road while I'm hungry? I can't be able to put food on my table and even feed my siblings.
And Obaya, I want you to hold at it right there, because you've talked a lot of issues that needs to be addressed from the aspect of job employment and your turnaround time, or rather your turning point being the 25th of June 2024, the handouts that are in politics, and now you deciding to be actively involved. And guess what? You're not the only one who is coming to this talk. We have Noella with us here, who is also a lady. And according to her title, because I really love the titling of what Noella is today. She calls her young women leader in terms of the Linda Mwananchi. And I want you, Noella, to come in at this point. You are the president. What are you presiding over?
Okay, good evening, fellow Kenyans again, and Eli. So I'll start with my title, the president of the Linda Mwananchi Young Women. For the longest time, we started this movement, there has been a notion that Linda Mwananchi is not gender friendly. So this movement of young women came in about where we needed to scrap off the narrative that Linda Mwananchi is not gender friendly. So there are young women in Linda Mwananchi who are thriving in politics. There are young women aged between 18 years and 35 years who are trying to learn politics. They are into politics. They have done campus politics. So they are part of this movement. They are aged between 18 years and 35 years. So we want, as the president today, I also say before I give my comments that we welcome all Kenyans to come in and join the Linda Mwananchi Young Women movement so that we can be part of the change. Because as young people, we need to be at the front line. Because there's a saying I like saying, sisi ndio tegemeo. Sisi vijana ndio tegemeo. Sisi vijana tukiwa tegemeo, we are the only people who are going to make change for this country. So there are different liberations that happen in this country. The first liberation was the colonial liberation. The second liberation was the multipartyism, where we are now enjoying different political parties. The third liberation was the 2010 Constitution. 2010 Constitution, where some of the people in this regime are the ones abusing the Constitution. They did not support this current Constitution, and that is why they are abusing it right now. And that is why we are saying the fourth liberation will be the economic liberation, that the young people, the young women, the young men are the ones who will come up and liberate this country economically. So back to you, Eli, with your questions.
All right, asante sana. That is Noella. And Noella, as you correctly put it, this is a gender issue, no longer the problem, because they are young women who are actively involved in politics. But then again, Noella, I don't want to dampen your spirit, but the fact that there are a lot of young women involved in the current political discourse, especially with the Linda Mwananchi, like we said, it reminds me of the Warembo na, was it Warembo na Raila or Warembo na Baba? Is this just a recreation, or is there something extra you are doing as young women, Kakas?
Okay. Warembo and Raila are also part of the team of, as you understand, we have different factions in ODM. So there's an ODM that calls itself Linda Mwananchi, which is represented by us. And there's an ODM that is Linda Ground. So I will not talk about Linda Ground because I do not know their politics. I will talk about Linda Mwananchi because that is what I know. Because so the same rift you see with the Linda Ground leaders and Linda Ground Mwananchi is the same rift that happened with the Warembo na Raila. So some of the Warembo na Railas are also part of the Linda Mwananchi young women. And as part of the change that young women want to do for this country, we want to mobilize ourselves. There's a notion that a woman is another woman's enemy. That is not a notion that is supposed to be in politics. Because when you look at the NADCO report, part of the NADCO report represents the gender role. And as women, if we do not ramp up support for each other, there is no way the gender role will ever happen. So as part of it, we are coming together and form this movement. First of all, we form it as a movement. Then when we have decided that we are going with a certain political party, that is when we will join in. But as now, it is a movement of women who are young in politics, and they are yearning to be leaders of this country. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Noella, and again, appreciating you for making time to be here and discuss with us what is this you're working around in redefining our national politics. Let me move on swiftly to Olive Ambrose. And Olive, if you can hear me, your colleague here has stated that this is just another rebuilding of women supporting women. How would you define your current reality in politics as a young woman, and knowing too well you are working under shadows of men?
Eli, for me personally, working under the shadows of
Do you mind getting your mic a little bit
men,
closer, Olive?
it's actually close.
Yeah.
I'm somewhere noisy though.
Okay, go ahead, Olive.
Yeah, come again. With the question.
Yes, you hear your colleague who has talked about women supporting women, but then again, when I look at the Linda Mwananchi faces, the poster faces, I see the women are doing an amazing job. But then again, under the shadows of men. I don't want to make this about gender, competition, but I want to understand, as a young woman, do you really see yourself positioned for the next level of leadership and redefining our national politics?
Yes, Eli. So for me, when it comes to women, I feel like we stand counted right now more than it was before. Right now our voices are being heard. We are on the table. But I would like to speak for the Linda Mwananchi movement. I think our movement stands firmly on the principles of equality and justice for all citizens. And that naturally includes women and youth as well, especially as key stakeholders in the governance. There's also the economic empowerment and also social stability around the women in Linda Mwananchi. So I personally feel included, like as a woman, and given the fact that we have these emerging groups of women in this particular Linda Mwananchi faction, we are being recognized. We are given to speak at events. We have representatives in planning teams. We lead in local initiatives also. So for me, we are showing up to be effective. We're showing up.
All right, Olive, thank you. You say you're showing up, and there's equal opportunity for all of you, not just to thrive, but really your voices to matter. Now, I watched the events in Kisumu, and I believe many of you did. And one thing for sure, on Friday when we were having your weekend brief, one of our speakers did suggest it was not mature enough for the Linda Mwananchi Brigade to head into Kisumu because it was going to cause what I will term as chaos. Abaya, what do you have to say about your experience in Kisumu and how that has redefined national politics?
Kisumu, I think personally, I never had a chance of going to Kisumu, but I joined Linda Mwananchi in Nakuru. Kisumu went on very well, other than the threats that were there before. And it was a critical moment, especially in this country, because out of that moment, there is something that came out truly that even the young people can lead. And that message was very, very clear because people thought that without the influence of people like Raila, he wouldn't pull such a crowd in Kondele. And then the results were massive. And the people who turned out for that political rally were, it was just quite amazing. And nothing really came out because even those organized goons themselves, some of them had to eat the money and then join Linda Mwananchi Brigade. It then tells you that a time has come whereby even money won't even matter anymore. A time has come whereby the handouts that people have been used to will not make any sense because for someone like the president to go to Kondele to pull such a crowd, he'll need to use lots and lots of money. But then when you look at that crowd that was chanting Linda Mwananchi and another term that I don't want to use, I don't know whether it's I'm allowed to use here. You can tell that it was an organic crowd, and there was no any sort of mobilization that was done that people maybe after the rally were waiting for to be given handouts. It tells you that Kenyans are now uniting, and they are uniting for a purpose and a goal of reclaiming this country and liberating it from these lunatics who are occupying the highest echelons of power.
I don't suggest we use lunatics for now.
Okay, okay. Um, I'm sorry for that. So, okay, but I think you get my point. People are uniting, and they are saying that you've used us for so long. When you want pictures, you want to show you're mighty in all your muscles in politics. You come and give us 100 shillings for you to take an aerial photo of the crowd and use it to threaten people that you are untouchable, that you cannot be taken home out of the atrocities that you've committed to the country. I think for me, defined our politics, and from there, I think there were some declarations that were made, including the Honorable Babu said that he's going to run for governor Nairobi, and even the Honorable Sifuna is going to run for presidency come 2027 after this came out of the success that this rally had.
Thank you very much, Abaya. And you say this was as a success of the rally. And again, ladies and gentlemen, at a later stage, we'll be having open mic session to allow all of you to be able to contribute. So if you have an issue or something you'd like to contribute to, kindly prepare because at 1:30 we'll turn to you. For now, we are engaging with very interesting speakers because of their in-depth engagement with the Linda Mwananchi faction, and that's why you see we are trying as much as possible to squeeze a lot from them, and then we can be able to come to you. So do not feel tired of listening in. We'll come to you in a few. Obed, your hand is up. Kindly proceed.
Well, yeah, just there's a lot that is being made of the movement, and people are saying quite a number of things. But I would like to hear it from them, and no one in particular. What exactly does Linda Mwananchi stand for? Others will ask, what's the alternative message they're giving, or what is it that they're looking at achieving, and that is different from what the rest of the political groupings have? And at the same time, what is the end goal? Because I think there has been that question, and I hate to ask these questions, but it's part of what a lot of people probably are asking. And for one particular reason, is this an opportunity for the young people in the form of Edwin, Sifuna, Babu, and others to create a movement and then use it as a negotiating tool? Or is it really something that they intend to have and use for the long haul with the intention to have different kind of politics and make a difference in Kenyan politics? Or the recourse would be going back to the normal Kenyan political way of doing things?
Obed, is that a question to someone?
I didn't put it specifically to anyone, but whoever is ready to answer that, because I didn't want to put.
Yes. Olive,
Okay.
if Olive, you can move out of that very comfortable area. We really want to hear your voice clearly. Noella, the mic is yours.
Okay. Okay, thank you. I will answer all better and also give my submissions. First of all, as someone who has been with Linda Mwananchi since Linda Mwananchi's plotting, back then from the Busia rally to the Kisumu rally, I'll speak about Linda Mwananchi as students of Baba theme. This is a students of Baba theme. Baba stood for the people. Baba represented the people. He was a people's person. And that is why you see the rallies in Linda Mwananchi are very organic. They are replica of the rallies that Mzee Raila Amolo Odinga had when he used to have his rallies. So when you look at Edwin Sifuna and Honorable Edwin Sifuna and Honorable Babu Owino, they are a representation of the young people in a way that Baba looked at them as men, and the young people are resonating more with Babu Owino and Edwin Sifuna because during the 2024 protests, they are the only people who came out to the people and asked the people and asked the police to stop shooting the young people. So the young people of this country are looking at them as people who stood with them. When you look at the young people, every time you talk to the young people, they will tell you any person who voted for the finance bill and made the young people died, that person, we're not going to vote in that person. So those memories of 2024 are very fresh from to the young people, and that is why at that time people used to say we are leaderless. Yeah, we are tribeless. There were a lot of less that was being talked about at that time. But right now, you do not see that with the young people right now. The young people are looking at Edwin Sifuna and Babu Owino as people who will bring change to them, the change that never happened during Baba's time, because Baba was a people person. And that is why these rallies are very, very organic. There are some leaders who claimed that the Kisumu rally was not going to happen. But it happened because the people have decided that the change will come with or without you. If you look at the factions that happened with the Linda Ground and the Linda Mwananchi, Edwin Sifuna and Babu Owino are a representation of atrocities that are done to people. There's a leader who has come out and said the reason why the Edwin Sifuna has become a hero because alikandamizwa kwa hiyo chama na ametoka nje amekuwa a hero to the people. They have made him a hero. Of course, definitely he was still a hero, but then again, they have made him a hero because he was, atrocities were done to him, impunity was done to him. And what Linda Mwananchi basically stands for, this is a continuation of the 10-point agenda that was supposed to be implemented by the MOU that Raila Odinga and William Ruto had. And if you look at the 10-point agenda, one of the things that is about the NADCO report. Number 2, right to assemble. Why do we have goons who infiltrate the rallies? You have a right to go and assemble. Why are leaders saying that there are some leaders who are not supposed, there are some factions that are not supposed to go to certain places? If we go that as a country, if we go that direction as a country, we are going to a bad place. And it is not a good thing for goonism to be encouraged by leaders, for leaders to speak up in podiums and say that some leaders or some factions cannot go to certain areas. Number two, we talk about impunity, end of impunity, end of extrajudicial killings. There are so many young people who have died in the hands of the police, but till now, there is no justice that has been done to them. So as Linda Mwananchi, we stand for end of impunity, implementation of the NADCO report, electoral justice. We need electoral justice. The IEBC itself has not yet, to date, given Kenyans justice on what happened in the 2022 general elections. What exactly happened? That is what the NADCO report represents. When you look at it, corruption, there are so many corruption cases that happen each and every day. Each and every day, I read the newspapers I look at the newspapers every day and I'm in tears. I cry for my country because I look at the newspapers and I tell myself, when will corruption end? Who will be in charge of any corruption? So we look at Edwin Sifuna and Babu Owino as people who will be on the front line, because Edwin Sifuna has been on these TV stations talking about the implementation of the 10-point agenda, end of corruption. Recently, there's a governor who tried to create some shows, side shows, or not appearing on the Public Accounts Committee. Why? Why do people don't want to be accountable? Why don't governors want to be accountable on what is happening in their counties? So, Ellen, as Linda Mwananchi, we are a faction that represents the people, who have been marginalized, that represents the people wenye wamekandamizwa, watu ambao tunatetea haki ya Wakenya, and that is exactly what Baba Raila Amolo Odinga wanted. Thank you.
The bigger picture with Obed Oluku and Likuyani Eli. For more information, visit www.mizani254.org. Mizani 254, where the scales of balance are restored and meaningful conversations thrive.
Eli,
We can't hear you.
Yes, Obed, I think someone had their mic on, so we are having some sort of feedback coming through. But allow me to just bring back the conversation to where we're supposed to be having it.
The bigger picture with Obed Oriku and Likuyani Eli. For more information, visit www.mizani254.org. Mizani 254, where the scales
Eli,
of
I'm not
balance
so
are
sure we can
restored
hear you
and
at all.
meaningful conversations
Unless
thrive.
it's me.
Well, I thought we were on the mic, but clearly, Obed, I hear you, Noella.
Noella has made a contribution, so I
Yes.
think unless somebody else wanted to contribute to the same question.
No. Actually,
if you have a
there are some
question
things
to
I
follow
wanted
up.
to follow up with, Obed, if you don't mind. Unless you have something that you want to clear with Noella, I'd love to, bring
Not
some
at all.
perspectives
You
into
can go
this.
ahead and ask. Not at all. Not
Awesome,
at all.
thank
It's
you.
okay.
Thank you. I hope you've listened to Noella. I see your mic is on. Is that Olive? Olive, you want to share something?
Yes, I don't know if you can hear me. I just wanted to
Go ahead.
add on to something. But for us and what we believe in Linda Mwananchi is that Linda Mwananchi is not just a slogan anymore, and it has become a national responsibility framework. It means
Olive, your audio is very faint.
Not-
Your audio is very faint.
Okay.
There's a possibility you had your
Okay.
Bluetooth on, and that is making your audio not
Can you hear me now?
levelized. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, so I was saying that Linda Mwananchi is no longer just a slogan anymore, but a national responsibility framework. And it means protecting the everyday Kenyan, not only in terms of security and the cost of living. We know how the cost of living has skyrocketed right now, but also we are also protecting against the emerging threats like misinformation and the deepfakes that you have written on our poster, because like we saw yesterday, there was the picture of Edwin Sifuna up there with the one-term guy on the road lights, and for some reason, all of a sudden, an emerging image of two-term, one term from Edwin and two term from the guy was making rounds, and people tend to believe that that was the actual thing that went on. So also today, politics is not just competing ideas. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, we can, but we are struggling because I think the environment in where you are,
Okay.
you're picking a lot of noise in the background.
Okay. It's about controlling narrative. It's not about now competing on ideas, and that also creates risks on where citizens can be misled by content that looks real but is not. So protecting Mwananchi, Kulinda Mwananchi now includes protecting the integrity of the information they rely on to make decisions. So as part of the Linda Mwananchi, our role is also helping to shift conversation from rhetoric responsibility. And yeah, we're also promoting civic awareness, encouraging people to question and pushing for leadership that is accountable in how information.
Yes, Olive, thank you very much. I believe for those of you who are trying to follow through what Olive was talking about, she's talking about the issue of reshaping and ensuring that unalinda mwananchi by making sure that the information that is being circulated is not distorted as it is right now. And that's why if you probably read some of the tweets we made earlier on in the day, we were talking about the deepfakes. And at a later stage, I want to talk about that. But now I still have 10 minutes before I open up the floor and the mics to the rest of you who are in the plenary. I've listened to the submission by Noella. And one of the things that stood out, and Abaya, this is now directed to you, was the issue of Gunism, impunity, electoral justice, end of corruption, accountability. And now Oliver says it's no longer, Oliver, I beg your pardon, it's no longer the slogan, it is actionizing these things that we say every day. Now, Abaya, what will you define as Gunism without dictionary or anything else? And how would you pitch impunity for you? These two terms for me are important to be defined because then they'll help me understand better what Linda Mwananchi is all about.
I think Gunism is a scenario whereby when you disagree with someone, you tend to use excessive force so that you can intimidate them from expressing maybe themselves, like what we've been seeing, what we've been witnessing in currently in our country, and that has been the normal trends with this current regime. That once I disagree with you, and maybe you're a public figure, I'll send some people to come and attack you, so that you can tone down maybe or get intimidated and stop saying whatever you wanted to say. And I didn't get your second part. What was it?
So my second question was,
All
how
right.
would you
It was
define impunity?
Yes, impunity. I think these are the injustices that that occur maybe in our daily lives that are perpetrated by the most powerful elites in the country. For instance, this country has been really suffering from the chain of impunity that was carried on from the first founders of this country. Things like extrajudicial killings, corruption. It has been carried on from the Kenyatta regime. It came to Moi, it came to Kibaki, all the way up to now. So what we are actually what we are stressing on as Linda Mwananchi is trying to break this chain of impunity and say that enough is enough. A time has come whereby we must put this country into the right trajectory. And a right trajectory, I mean that everyone must be held accountable for the actions that they did while in office. And not just your actions, but you can also be a good person by not doing something. Let it be that your track record is what defines who you are. If you have been given a mandate, let us know what you did, and let us also know what you failed to do. Let you not just be a good person because you failed to do or execute your roles as a leader. And that is what the kind of conversation that we are trying to push and to be incorporated under Linda Mwananchi, because we are seeing the light through this faction of ODM.
I hear you, Abaya, and I appreciate your response to the question that you've said. I mean, this question that we put across. But there's one thing I'd like to find out. When you look at Linda Mwananchi as a group, kindly mute Abaya to enable me to be able to submit. If you look at the Linda Mwananchi and the conversation surrounding Linda Mwananchi, I mean, the president of the Women Caucus said here that we are all about addressing the issue of Guruism, impunity, electoral justice, among others, and corruption. Are you going to say the leadership of Linda Mwananchi has nothing on them that will define them in those words? Abaya.
I really doubt that, because first of all, for an individual like me to align myself with a political wing or a movement, first of all, I look at the people or the leadership of this, for example, Linda Mwananchi. Someone like Sifuna, I think if we can be fair as a people, we can give him credit because he's been very, very consistent, and he's always been on the right side, and all the time he's been defending the people. And that is very clear, because even if you go online, you will see all the time since he entered parliament, he's been defending the people. The same thing with Babu, we know, the same thing with Bob Agri Orengo and the rest of the members under Linda Mwananchi. And there's something that we need really to be very keen on, because when you look at all these leaders under Linda Mwananchi, some of them are actually lawyers, and since independence, we've never given a chance someone who is well acquainted with the law to actually rule this country and see what will happen. Because one of the problems that we have in this country that has even led us into Gunism is because we are not adhering to the rules and regulations, including the constitution that govern this country. We see it as just a paper. That is why you'll find even in these rallies, we've seen tear gas. We don't know where those tear gas come from. And if indeed we were to follow the law, if we were a country governed by the law, we would have known this came from a certain police, and this police taken to court and face the law as it is supposed to be. But now, because we've normalized to be a country that doesn't follow the law, that is why we have even tear gas being unleashed to people, even in broad daylight, without any consequences on them.
So, Abaya, you've mentioned two individuals, and those individuals, I hear you, almost saying they are the best option we have as a country. And that's why I want to bring back Noella to the talk, because Noella, you brought up the issue of Gunoism and impunity. How would you define impunity? And when you look at the leadership of Linda Mwananchi and the involvement both in Parliament and outside Parliament, would you define them as a great definition of, I don't know what is the opposite of impunity, but Noella?
Okay, thank you, Eli. Impunity, as Noella, I will describe impunity as what my colleague has said, injustice, atrocities. Impunity is just the atrocities being done to people, the injustice that is done to people who are actually people who come out vocally. They're vocal. They talk about issues, but then again, the issues they raise are sidelined. They're sidelined, or rather, maybe the bad things are done to them so that they can be silenced. The dissenting voices are silenced. To me, I look at impunity as injustice. I didn't get your second question.
I mean, you already had a good answer to that. You look at impunity as injustice. So when you look at the leadership of Linda Mwananchi, and to be honest, I don't know who is the leader, because I don't know what is the structure. But when you look at the names that are fronting Linda Mwananchi, would you honestly state these are men and women of integrity? Because impunity has been one of the biggest reasons our countries suffer from bad leadership. Yeah.
Okay. As first of all, Linda Mwananchi has no leader. This is a movement. It is a movement, and it's a collective responsibility for all the Linda Mwananchi leaders. And our leaders are, we have over 10 leaders who lead the Linda Mwananchi faction. So I will not label anyone as this is a leader, this is better than this one is above this one, above, or I say Babu is above Sifuna, or Sifuna is above Babu. I will not say it that way. I will say Linda Mwananchi is a movement of the people who want justice to be done to the Kenyan people, and people who are pro the people. So when you talk about leaders who, I look at Edwin Sifuna as someone who has always been defending the people. Every time you listening to his interviews, he has always been on the side of the people. Back then, when even Mzee Amolo Odinga was still alive, he would come out so vocal and defend the people. When Mzee Raila Odinga died, in his own burial, he said he would not let the people down. By not letting the people down, he actually meant what Mzee Raila Odinga used to say: the power belongs to the people. The power belongs to the people, and that is what that Senator Sifuna was saying on Baba's burial. He said it so passionately, and he said he will not let Raila Odinga down. And by not letting him down, he actually said that he will defend the people, and that is what we've been seeing him doing on these TV stations, defending the people of the Senate, debating on laws that benefit the people. He's always on the people's side. When I look at James Agri Orengo, James Agri Orengo has always been on the revolution side and the revolution of the people. When I look at Babu Owino, Babu Owino is someone who has been defending the people. He has been, in fact, right now, Babu Owino is a senior counsel. He's a senior counsel because he has been defending the young people. Pro bono cases. He's been taking up pro bono cases for the young people. The young people have been arrested. He's been going out there and defending the young people, getting them out of cells. Anytime you see there's issues to do with abductions, he's always been on the front line to call out. Like the other day, he was calling out the issue to do with the PS Raymond. He talked about it very passionately, and he was calling out the alleged PS for the atrocities that were done to our Senator Osotsi. And he was so vocal about it and talked about it and said that he was part of it. So he's been defending the people, and that is why we don't need perfect leaders, Eli. We do not need perfect leaders. We just need leaders who will show up. Leaders who will show up and defend the people. Yes, thank you, Eli.
Right, that is Noella. And Noella, thank you very much for your honest answers in terms of what we need as a country. She argues we don't need perfect leaders. We argue we want accountability. We also expect Chapter 6 of the Constitution to be adhered to. And corruption, among others, have to be part and parcel of our daily conversation. But then again, I want you to take a minute and reflect on this. We have a great leader, and we have a thug. And one does it because he has to save a life. The other one does it because he has to amass power and rule and domineer over the rest. But then again, the only complication about this whole scenario is some of these things are done for the good of the people. What happens if one of these people gets shot at with one of them that is trying to save the other? Do we call that impunity, or we just call it, stray bullet? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Bigger Picture. Let's have now the open mic session to all the guests that are joining in so that we can be able to hear from them and understand how do we redefine our national politics. Joining me online, it's Dr. Mofo. Dr. Mofo, good evening to you. How are you doing, sir? Welcome.
Hi, Eli. How are you doing?
I'm great, and good to have you here. Karibu sana. How do you think we should redefine our national politics as we Linda Mwananchi?
Thank you. Let me, start from here. That on a relatively good news, that the performance by Sebastian Sawe yesterday, I believe, in London Marathon, was absolutely historic. Correct. And remarkable. In my opinion, it is world class that came sooner than we anticipated. And I say sooner because you remember when it was almost impossible to imagine that anyone would break the record by running the marathon under 2 hours, it had to be modulated. Then someone comes and in an open marathon contestation, he smashes the record. Very good news, especially at a time when things are not working in Kenya in leadership, and therefore a testimony that indeed there are things that Kenyans are still hopeful, and these are indications of brighter days ahead. Now, I've listened in the conversation about Linda Mwananchi and their performance over the weekend. Let me say this, that when we had the conversation here on Friday, I think you alluded to it, somebody said it will be imprudent for them to go to Kisumu. And the reason he gave was absolutely what I would refer to as subjective characterization. He said that he identified himself as a Luo and that Luo are naturally chaotic and hostile. Those were his words. Unfortunately, I needed to controvert that. Unfortunately, we didn't have sufficient time for it. But what I am saying is I am grateful that the people of Kisumu were highly hospitable and they were able to nullify and invalidate much of this opinion. Secondly, I believe there was a case, or rather they had an opportunity to showcase that there exists a group of people who are looking for change, and that change and transformative change is possible. And that there are people who believe they are independent in their political decisions. A majority of the people who hold these positions are the people who showed up and showed support for the Linda Mwananchi. Now, listening in and to the kind of argument that is coming up here, there's a question that I have, and it's good that it is something you seem to be, to be going to. The question is what it is that this group of Linda Mwananchi want to do with it. Because for me, I believe they seem to be consolidating some kind of political capital, but it is not definitive exactly what they want to do with it. We know for sure there exists political polarity in terms of ideologies between them and the incumbent, that is William Ruto. And the message, by and large, it is expression of defiance and resistance to his regime. But exactly what their next steps are, it is anomalous. And this is what we are pressing this group to tell us exactly the steps they want to take. Do they want to use this political capital to have a negotiation with the like-minded people who are equally at loggerheads with the regime and consolidate the political capital so that they have an upper hand in the year 2027 presidential bid? That is what my expectation is. Or do they want again to assess their political ability to go solo and therefore field their own candidates? Remember what the genesis of Linda Mwananchi is. The Linda Mwananchi is an opposition to the existing ODM, is a faction of ODM that is responding or was created to respond to the attempted ouster of Sifuna. But as it stands, I can say this, my categorical position is resisting the ouster of Sifuna as Asia is short-timed, And the reason is theirs is what I would refer to as a scorpion fight. By the end of the day, if the larger ODM wants to push him out, they will do it by all means. But of necessity for them is to establish themselves and identify is a lost case. The ODM is not worth fighting for. The ODM lost its relevance on the demise of Raila Odinga, and the political capital he left is up for grabs. They need to position themselves to grab it and make use of the kind of the blank check that exists and cash it in the right way. My opinion, my persuasion is we cannot afford to walk into 2027 divided. We cannot afford to have more than two strong presidential candidates in the year 2027, with William Ruto being one of them, without risking providing a route for him to re-election. And therefore, it is highest time that they redefine themselves. It is the right time that they go to the drawing board, they come up with a message, and they drive that message such that even when William Ruto goes to whatever discourse or rallies, he has a message to respond to them in equal way he responds to Gachagua, to Matiang'i every time he takes a mic. As it stands, I just want to say it is imagined threat that perhaps is not keeping William Ruto sleepless as it stands. Thank you, Eli.
All right, thank you very much. That is Dr. Mofo, if you can hear me. And
Eli, I
yes, I hear you, Dr. Mofo. Asante sana. There's so much happening around here, so don't think I didn't hear you. You've talked a lot about how they need to redefine themselves so that even when President Ruto is going on his normal occasions, he can respond. But are they coming in as competition, or are they just preparing to be another faction of opposition? Looking at the historical context in terms of where the Linda Mwananchi is coming from. But, there's something that Honorable Noella shared earlier on, and I thought maybe I need to talk about it because she mentioned that the reason why people resonate with Sifuna, who in this case we will look at as part of the top tier or top brass of Linda Mwananchi, is because of the issues that emerged within their inside political party in terms of, the unfairness, the ill treatment Sifuna received. To some extent, there was a conversation that was happening, and everyone here, I know even my good friend Nasambu at one point was very unhappy and said, yeye ni Sifuna. So this has morphosized into Linda Mwananchi, or do we still have Sifuna na nani ni Sifuna? Let's find out. Rasji, what do you think? What exactly is happening, and how are you redefining this national politics? The mic is yours, Rasji.
Thank you, Eli. Thank you, Eli. First, it's been long since I was on Mizani show. Asante sana kwa
You
kunikaribisha.
became a celebrity. You only deal with big people. So big people syndrome is with you. I understand. I have nothing against you.
Don't say that. You'll make Obed. I've been with Obed on this basis. So, let us look at the future. I'm really confident we'll do something in the future. But let me dive into Linda Mwananchi, a group when it started. I think I was one of the people who had associated with this particular group by the fact that my current member of parliament is still in this particular faction. And I think you have asked a very important question. How did we arrive at Linda Mwananchi? And it's important for us to take stock. And you remember at the backdrop of everything that was happening in the country, when the young people felt that the conversation they had started in June 2024 was not getting the kind of attention that it's supposed to get from first the regime that they were so much determined to remove from power, whether constitutionally or unconstitutionally. But then again, there was this particular feeling from the young people and the general public that their messaging was not really getting the attention of the political class. And so, at the backdrop of that, there were two legislators, and that was Babu Owino and there was Edwin Sifuna. And we have seen Edwin Sifuna and Babu Owino becoming so much vocal to issues pertaining Mwananchi. And so when everything felt like it was not getting that kind of attraction, and then the the purge inside ODM happened. This is how this particular group got the political oxygen to start now breathing, and especially when Babu and Sifuna found themselves being cornered by the purge and the happenings inside ODM, then that's how now the young people felt that, can we really reciprocate our energy? These are people that stood with us when this particular conversation was happening. And then that is how it started, my friend Eli. People just wanted to give back. Yeah, tulitaka kusimama na hawa viongozi by the fact that they had stood with us. And then now it started, the conversation is started. And I remember very well in Kitengela, it just started like any other. And then now the slogan Sisi Ndio Sifuna picked up, and then it has now started getting that attraction. But the most important question that some of us in the political field should really start now asking themselves, what does this particular faction want? What is their end game politically? From where we sit, because this is a faction that has already demonstrated it can be a threat both to the regime that we desperately want to replace, and also to the faction that has already identified themselves as the alternative government in waiting, or commonly known as the United Opposition. And that's why you will hear when this particular faction started gaining this kind of attraction, in every sentiment, especially from my my political leader and my party leader, you could hear sentiments kila wakati alikuwa ana refer to this particular group. It tells you everybody is positioning himself at a bargaining angle. And you could hear Babu Owino yesterday instructing the people of Nyanza that they will be coming to tell them who will be their next leaders in form of MCAs, senators, members of parliament. Now, how do you bring this conversation back again to the mountain where I come from? This is the same language Rigathi Gachagua has been telling the mountain and the people of the mountain, that we will be telling you whom to exactly be voting. So it tells you this, if you are a very keen political student, you'll realize there is a kind of messaging that now is coming from the Linda Mwananchi group that you can relate from this other wing. And so it tells you that in future, these are two factions that will come to meet. These are two rivers that their eventual end game is the Indian Ocean. And at some point, they'll have to meet at the ocean. Thank you.
The bigger picture.
I don't know what's happening tonight, but clearly nobody wants to hear anything about the bigger picture. So we leave it as it is. There's nothing big about it. The program is very bigger than the than the jingle. We'll look into that in a few minutes. Thank you, Ras G. You say there are some things that will happen, and eventually the rivers will meet somewhere in the Indian Ocean. And again, just for your information, we have three important speakers that we thought it was important to have in this talk because of the engagement with Linda Mwananchi. If you have specific questions for them, feel free to shoot those questions, but just don't take their lives while doing that, okay? Obeds, the mic is yours as we try to navigate back to our speakers and, of course, those ones who are also joining us.
Yeah, just a question to the room. I like the contributions, but what I want to ask is, there was an insinuation or suggestion that, Linda Mwananchi was born out of the frustration and the purge that happened in ODM because Edwin Sifuna was being ousted, or there was that was intended. Whether it happened or not is another conversation to have because they deem it not to have been the most procedural thing. There's a court, court of arbitration, I think, or political parties still sending it back to ODM to figure it out and sort it out, which is still pending. Question I ask, looking at the previous elections, how Ruto campaigned for 10 years, and he was deemed to be a victim. Edwin Sifuna now and the rest of the Linda Mwananchi team, and including the United Alternative government in waiting, there is a sense that Kenyans tend to love victims more and not necessarily the agenda that's being put across. Because when I listen keenly, what I only hear a lot more, and I'm doing the devil's advocate job here, is one term and Ruto must go. Not more than that. So are we removing this man, or if these teams are given the opportunity, will they just remove Ruto and just morph and be just like him?
Fair question. Quick one. Let's start with you, Noela, and then Abaya. After Abaya, we go back to the new set of speakers. You want to take a quick bite on that, Noela?
Okay, yeah, I'll take a bit bite on it. Okay, Obed, your question on what is the way forward for Linda Mwananchi? First of all, as I said earlier, Linda Mwananchi is a movement. It's a movement, and we are trying to, and we will want to urge all Kenyans to be patient with us as we are trying to restructure ourselves. But in the meantime, Linda Mwananchi is a movement. Number two, there's a question of you saying all here is one term and Ruto must go. There's something I said when we started off, and I said the part of Linda Mwananchi agenda was the 10-point agenda. The implementation of the 10-point agenda that Linda Mwananchi was really pushing the current regime, because the current regime was had an MOU with the late Raila Amolo Odinga on issues to do with the atrocities, NADCO report, basically what the 10-point agenda. So the Linda Mwananchi has been very vocal about the implementation of the 10-point agenda, and none of it has happened today. None of the points, none of the agendas that were raised on the report have been implemented. So I would want to tell Kenyans that we need to have the basics first so that we can have the manifesto that Kenyans are really pushing for. For now, Linda Mwananchi represents the 10-point agenda, and the 10-point agenda is what the Linda Mwananchi is trying to push to be implemented. I hope I've answered you well, Obed.
You heard her. It's all about the 10-point agenda, and that's what Linda Mwananchi wants to achieve. Now, do you have different opinion about the same? We would love for you to come on board and share your opinion on the same. But before that, Abaya, I think we lost Abaya. Let's see who has been waiting too much on the line. I see a lot of hands up because we've listened to a lot of gentlemen, and I know you are very gentle by nature. Allow me to give Nasambu a bite, and then we'll go to Western, followed by Justice, in that order. Nasambu?
Umeniweka hotspot, hata ndo nilikuwa ninapanga akili.
Aya,
But let me touch.
unataka tukusaidie uendelee kupanga kama vile tunapanga na tunatenga?
Mheshimiwa ako tayari
Kupanga na
kuongea
kutenga.
anytime. Ndio ile.
No, you see, that's the
Mheshimiwa should
problem.
be ready anytime.
You know, I thought so, but it looks like she has a lot to learn from.
Inyenye mumekuja na nyundo leo ni kugonga. Let me answer one area that I think I would want to touch on, and then you will give me time for me to speak on other areas that I'm still arranging. One question that Obed has asked is about victimhood. Whether we as a country just like associating or being there for people who've been oppressed, for lack of a better word, in one way or another. And there's some truth to that. I think as human beings, it is innate in us, unless you're not being human, to sympathize, to have empathy, and to sympathize with anyone who is going through any form of suffering. So the moment majority of the people saw that something was going wrong towards Sifuna and things were not being done fairly, it was humane for us to sympathize with him. And then another thing that I would like to associate the birth of that movement to that season is this. Where we are as a country, things are not okay for many people. There are some who are quite fine, but for many people, things are not okay. And because Sifuna was going through a season where his problems were sort of not similar, but an oppression in some way, denying of what is rightfully yours, taking what sort of is rightfully yours, it felt like it's something that is it's something that what majority of Kenyans are going through. And I think for me, that is where the birth of Sisi Nisifuna came up, because we felt like whatever it is that you're going through is the same thing that we are going through. We are in the same boat. We are sympathizing. It's a problem that is shared nationwide. But growing on from that, I would like to compare with other scenarios. We have seen also this kind of sympathy extended to other people. And I'm going to point to some of the examples. I will pick an incident like Morara. He came, of course, he was starting to speak about what the government was doing wrong, nini, and the government started attacking him, kidogo KRA, and people became drawn towards him because of that victimhood. And it's only there are a couple of people who are going through that season, and people got drawn to them because of that victimhood. However, through time, people were able to assess the actions of those people, and then they were like, oh, we thought you're this, but you're not this, so sisi tumeachana na mwendo wako. So people get drawn through victimhood, that I agree, either out of empathy, either out of feeling like, oh, this is happening to us all. But eventually, I think Kenyans also become reasonable, and they're able to sieve and say, we are continuing to stick with you because we believe, like Edwin Sifuna, he's been consistent. His fight for the people is not something that started the other day. It started way back. And even when he continued after the victimhood season, that is why it was easy for people to continue and buying into his ideas. So yes, we fell in because of him being persecuted, for lack of a better word, but we are staying in because we believe he's been consistent in his messaging. He cares for the country. He speaks about human rights being an important thing, which is something that we are experiencing right now as a people, because unaambiwa out of nowhere, 33 bodies have been found in Kericho, sijui 2 people have been killed in Embu. And right now, killing of people is just becoming but a statistic. So having someone who says right to life is important, and it's not that they've started that conversation today, but they've been doing it way before, that consistency is what maintains us to continue supporting him. So I'd like just to finish at that victimhood. I will pick up on other areas because I have ideas here and there. Because from their actions, if you ask me, I see them speaking to the future. But give me time after other speakers have spoken, and then I will come back and speak to that.
All right. I don't know what's happening here. If you can hear me, thank you very much. That is our sister Nasambu, and you talk about victimization and playing the victim card. Let's try and elevate the conversation, because I see we're already hitting 10 o'clock, and we still have a lot to discuss. We had Weston on the line. Weston, the mic is yours.
Eli, look, the greatest tragedy of our politics is personality cultism. Personality cultism. You see, politics that changes people's lives is always institutionalized. What means that if somebody expires tomorrow, life will continue. It will continue. People's lives are not precariously tied to an individual or two individuals. It can't work like that, because somebody will betray you tomorrow. But where politics is institutionalized, if you betray people, they leave you behind and they move on. If you betray people, somebody else takes over and they move on. They don't feel like their world has collapsed. So I'm seeing this where people focus more on personalities than as opposed to what these people represent, the greater picture. Where do you place the people of Kenya in what these people champion? I don't see that. So it's about Sifuna and Babu Wino. Okay, so you want to tell me millions of Kenyans' lives can be tied to an individual or two individuals? Is that what it is? It's not practically possible. It's not. It's not. We've been there. We know it's not possible. But I think we're stuck there. Then victimhood. Who is victimized? Who is victimized, Eli? Because you want to tell me that somebody who has no job in Kenya can relate to the victimhood, in quotes, of a member of parliament or a former deputy president? You staying in some village in Kenya or some informal settlement in any of those towns in Kenya, you can relate to the so-called victimhood of a former deputy president of the Republic of Kenya. Or you can relate to the victimhood of a senator. Like, really? Really? You don't inhabit the same worlds. You don't. I think Kenyans don't understand that. These members of parliament may carry Kenyan IDs, Kenyan passports, but they inhabit a world that millions of Kenyans can only dream of. They can only dream of, and it doesn't matter whether they're in the government or they're in the so-called united opposition. It does not matter. Their world is exclusive. But for some bizarre reason, like majority of Kenyans who are struggling to make ends meet, like they can relate to the problems and tribulations of a tiny fraction of the elite. Eli, that is fantastic. It's fantastic. Unbelievable. It is unbelievable. You, in Madare, the police will arrest you. They take you to the police station. You will be lucky to come out alive. Tell me a member of parliament will be arrested and taken to the police station and turn out dead. Tell me which one. Will it be the one in Linda Mwananchi or in UDA? Which member of parliament will be arrested by the police, taken to the police station, turn out dead? Which one? Where you want to tell us that we can associate with their victimhood and their suffering? Which one? Tell me, Eli. Which member of parliament, when they fall sick or they're in an accident far away from Nairobi, will be hospitalized in that part of the country? Don't all of them catch the next flight to Nairobi for best medicine? How many Kenyans can afford that? When you're sick in Busia, sick in Turkana, sick in Mandera, you catch the next flight to Nairobi for top treatment. treatment. If in Nairobi you don't get what you deserve out of the country, how many Kenyans can afford that? These people are victims. Eli, I'm saying no. We're not reading our politics correctly. I'm sorry, we're not. We are not. And then Dr. Mofo mentioned something here, which I mentioned last week. Even things that should unite us, they don't. Look at headlines in the newspapers today. Sebastian Sawe, his historic victory was hidden in some corner. You couldn't see it. But all over the world, that has been the news all over the world. Sebastian Sawe's exploit, historic victory, running sub 2 hours in marathon, has been celebrated all over the world, except his home country, Kenya. We have big problems. We have massive problems. I can tell you for free. I did this last week. In other countries, everything else would come to a standstill. That would be news. That would be the only news in town. But it's other countries that are celebrating Sebastian Sawe. His co-ethnics are busy with the parochial politics that is not taking them anywhere. Very petty politics. Well, that is the tragedy of our country. What can we do? And then, Eli, I ask you, Raila Odinga is part of the old order. For those who don't know, there are things he did, that we celebrate. And the other things he did that are not celebrated. Let's be honest. That's why he did not die as a former president. Because if he was so great, he would have died the former president of the Republic of Kenya. He did not. So it's a lie. These people are telling you they're out to protect his legacy. They are lying to you. They're lying. They're not being honest with themselves. He was not universally celebrated in Kenya. Let's be honest. So to say that you can use his legacy to propel you forward, you're lying, because he was divisive. Fact, wasn't he? He was divisive. So you're not going to appeal to the generality of Kenyans with that kind of agenda. But why would you go for that kind of agenda? Because you don't have an agenda of your own. Eli, are you getting it? You don't. You have not defined yourself. And that's why Obets, when he asks, what distinguishes this Linda Mwananchi? That question is not answered. What distinguishes you? It can't be 10-point agenda. 10-point agenda has got William Ruto in it. So it can't be. It cannot be something to move forward, because William Ruto has got his footprints on 10-point agenda. The individual you want to get rid of. So how can you take, his brainchild and say you're carrying for? Can you see how counterintuitive that is, Eli Obets? It can't be.
So are you suggesting, in your view, that none of the current political outfit is offering Kenyans that Mwananchi protection that we are seeking for? Because I'm a bit confused. What is your issue?
They are not. It's not a rhetorical question. You can't be confused. I'm very crystal clear. You cannot be confused. I'm crystal clear. None. It's not confusion.
But when you look at our historical politics, and allow me to engage you, Kidogo, Western, when you look at our historical politics, all our politics has been organized behind individuals. It is not Raila. It is not Martin Shikuku. It is not even Mwai Kibaki, Uhuru Kenyatta. And to mention just about a few, even the current incumbent, it has been about individuals. People believe in individuals, and then that is extrapolated into political outfits. Why do you think this has to be different? How do you want to redefine our politics, sir?
Remember, that does not mean that that kind of politics has served Kenyans. You understand? It has not. That's the point I'm making. That which you're saying is normative has not served the country.
So how would you...
Thus far. And therefore, if you're so desperate to get this government out, you cannot at the same time immerse in that politics. Because what you're telling Kenyans is that your pain, your suffering is not about to end. Let me put it to you simply. Perhaps you don't get me.
So,
If
so, so
people
how
come
then
together,
would you, and allow me to ask you this, how then would you compare the incumbent and the Linda Mwananchi faction? What are they doing that is not right that will see the current president out of power? Because that is the ultimate goal.
no, it can't be that. That can't be the ultimate goal.
It is the
Well,
ultimate goal to have Ruto
it
out.
cannot, because that was what happened against Moi. And those people, after Moi left, they fought. And they did not just fight among themselves. Their fighting spilled out into the rest of the Kenyan society. You don't understand that history? Yes, they were united against Moi, which was easier. Once Moi was out of the equation, it was harder for them to remain together because there was nothing to keep them together. They had to go hammer and tongs against one another,
Okay, hold on
which
that.
percolated into the rest of the society,
Hold on
didn't
that.
it?
Hold on that. Hold on that. Abaya, you've listened to Western. Do you agree that there's something you're getting wrong as Linda Mwananchi? What should be done differently, in your view? Abaya?
Yes, I think there's something that Western is missing, and you cannot compare the character of William Ruto with the people we have in Linda Mwananchi. I think that you're going in the wrong direction. What we are actually looking at, this movement is growing bigger and better. It's even surpassing Sifuna and even Babu, as themselves, because it is now becoming more of an avenue and a movement where people are coming to console themselves, out of the issues that they are facing as a country. And people are very desperate for leadership. You cannot tell me, because my Noella mentioned here that we are going to implement the 10-point agenda. William Ruto does not want to implement the 10-point agenda. That is why he even formed a committee just to pass time, and is fond of forming committees, committees to clean Nairobi River, committees to implement NADICO. Why do you need a committee to implement the NADICO report? It clearly tells you that it does not believe in what is in that report. That is why it has not been implemented. So the NADICO report is very clear, and the person who wrote it is actually a part of the leaders of Linda Mwananchi, who is Edwin Sifuna. So you now equating that since we want to implement the 10-point agenda, we are the same as William Ruto. There's a difference between Linda Mwananchi and William Ruto. Look at character. William Ruto is a politician and is not a leader. We want people desperate for leadership. That is why even when you see Linda Mwananchi coming to a certain town, there are people flocking there in large numbers. They are coming there because they are desperate. They want to see leadership. They've been used to politicians for quite a while, and now they want a new change. They want to see leadership and not just politicians coming in and selling words.
Eli, while I just like to ask, the assumption I'm listening is that as it stands, the United Alternative Government and Linda Mwananchi, or the current ODM that it is now broad-based government, don't have any clue, and the best option that Kenya has in terms of our politics is William Ruto. Is that what I'm hearing? And if that be the case, why is there a noise around what the government is doing, the current regime? And has the quality of life of the Kenyans improved since this government has come into power? Or is it worse than it was? I would like to hear, I've always heard, there's a lazy argument, and I think I always deem it to be the case. The element of whataboutism and the suggestion that Uhuru Kenyatta is the reason we are here. Whilst that could be true, you have a man who campaigned for 10 years to progress this country and suggested that the man who was there before him was lazy and didn't know the job, but can't deliver. So how then would it be that he is probably the best alternative to any other political formation and is the best option? I'm just throwing that to the room. And I'm not saying I'm defending anyone or suggesting it's a bad one.
Look at you trying to be too careful. Justice for all.
I've never been careful. Not in that sense.
Huyu
I'm very
huyu
clear.
kijana
I'm very
huyu
clear.
huyu kijana wekundu sijui nini imemfanyika siku hizi anakuwa too careful about this. Anyway, Eli, Mizani, Obed, thanks guys, and you guys are doing God's work and continue doing it. Continue doing it. Unajua ukweli ni kwamba even those who are not political, and of course Mzalendo Trust tries to do a tracking of who has spoken in parliament, who has done this, what's the participation, how many bills you have brought in, what was your manifesto, how many promises you had, 256 for the UDA, how many have you implemented, probably 24, which translates to about 9.56%. So as of the time that I'm speaking to you, UD has done a very good job of implementing less than 10% of what they promised to implement. And anything else they purport to have implemented, it's out of their own head, not what they promised to the Kenyan people when they were being, voted in. And in reality, I think those are the things that people have to think about. That are you, when we have a conversation, Mizani, Eli Obeds, is about, are you telling us you have achieved things that you made up or the things you promised us, which made us vote for you? So if it's not about the things that pushed us to vote for you, then we have a conversation. But if you're telling us that, oh, you came in, then you abandoned your own promises for us, which you campaigned on, and then you came up with your own exam, you mark it for yourself, and then you rate it yourself, then we can have a conversation, and that's okay, and that's okay. We have crazy people who do that in life. Some of you have ever tried to teach students. There are students who do that, and I think you just sit down and you're asking like, so they didn't think that my exam or whatever was in the script should have been answered, and they set up their own exam. So how do you rate them? So in my opinion, less than 10% of what UDA promised William Ruto is what has been achieved. Not my rating, by the way. I'm just reading. It's not my rating. I'm not the one who does it because I don't have time. I don't have even resources to do that. It's an independent group that does that. The second part of it is what I asked people yesterday. Go back home, sit down, and I'm asking you, and ask yourself, name three, not very many. I'm not even giving you too much work because I know how busy you guys are. Name for me three projects that Ruth has started from the beginning and has completed since he came to power. Please name for me three. If you have time, you can text me and tell me which ones are those. The MP for, I think, Yaribari Chache, Dr. Manduku.
So as you do this marking scheme, Justice for All, I just want to tell me one thing. How then is Linda Mwananchi redefining our national politics? Because
very good, and I like you ask that question.
What President Ruto has done or not done, what the MP, I don't know from where has done or not done, but I really want to understand from where you sit today, following closely the Linda Mwananchi campaign trail, how are they redefining our national politics?
The way they're defining national politics is ignore everybody else and listen to, in Linda Mwananchi, listen to Kalorio Mondi. Please pay attention to me as I respond to your question. Kalorio Mondi tells you that Luo Nyanza is being told that tumeuletea maendeleo. Out of all the promises that have been made, about 50 billion, less than 9 billion has been sent there. Not my word, his word. Okay? The way Linda Mwananchi is redefining is now going to the specificity of this kind of conversation. So tuache hii mambo mengi ya kuongea wameleta maendeleo gani? Ebu tuyataje na tuweke pesa kwa ile project, tuseme wamefanya. So the only way Linda Mwananchi is redefining this is to go down and start telling the Kenyan people that huyu Ruto ameenda Nyamira County where I come from na ame launch university 3 times called Nyamira University. Never been gazetted, no budget for it, never started. But how many
do you
times
mean
has
the
he
people
launched
of
it?
Nyamira did not know
So
that that university has never been launched? So it's now
yeah.
the saving grace and amazing grace of Linda Mwananchi that is reminding them, by the way, university in mara ya tatu tunapiga remix.
Yep. So the way this Linda Mwananchi is redefining our conversation is now going down into telling them that when you go to Muranga and try to launch a place which Linda Nyora has launched, and then you cover it and then you call it Ruto, it's a fraud. So we have to go down. Linda Mwananchi is redefining our national politics by saying that, wait a minute, mumedanganywa wazee. What's happening here ni kwamba hii university haiko ya Nyamira, haiko by Mungi. You come from there. Haiko. We don't have a university there. You know it.
So
Lakini imelonjewa mara
does
ngapi?
it
Mara
mean we
tatu.
don't read?
So
We
what I'm
don't
telling,
read. We wait for mheshimiwa to come and tell us mumedanganywa, because justice. You know why I'm asking you these questions, right?
I know, and I appreciate it,
So
by the way.
why I'm also trying to persuade you to really help me understand what Linda Mwananchi is doing, and I'm not saying you're part and parcel of it. I'm just saying, as Mwananchi yourself, do you believe they are bringing out conversations that I've not had in the past? Or rather, these are things that we hear about, and then we're like, where? Waliba, wa. If you're in Kenya, what is it different? Other than being told mumeibiwa, na tunajua tunaibiwa, and we've seen it, Auditor General reports, the financial reports, and how we've been able to, anything you want to mention, you will see these reports. What is it that they are doing different that was not done in the past?
What they are going to do, what they are doing different, and honestly, Eli, there's so much noise in the air, and you know that the kind of bravado, and everybody tells that what Ruto has done, what the Linda Mwananchi is doing differently to redefine the national politics, is to ensure that they are giving power back to you as Mwananchi and me, that go back and check. Uko kwenu, I don't know where you come from. Obed, I know where Obed comes from. Uko kwenu Nyamaiya. Dude, there's nothing. Ni uongo. Hiyo kitu iliambiwa kwamba kuna barabara imejengwa, haijajengwa. Na ile yenye unasema wamemaliza ni Uhuru alianzisha. Hakuna kitu Ruto ameanzisha na imefanyika. So what Linda Mwananchi is saying is that, Mwananchi, take the power back, go back, check for us. Has this been done? So as I learned is this, that Mwananchi has to take power to themselves. Waanze kujiuliza that even as we talk and we have this conversation, is this a thing that is, we are being deluded, but in reality, these things have not happened. In the budget, there have not been, no money has been disbursed. In Nyamira, which I'm very passionate about because that's where I come from, and Obed and I and other people come from, the projects that have been mentioned, they're not there. None. Zero. Nada. So my point is that Linda Mwananchi has to tell you that, yes, if you don't trust us, trust yourself. Go back and check and find out that kumbe hii yote ilikuwa ni uongo. Na mimi nakwambia, Eli Likoyani, Ruto has not started a project that he has completed. Not even in Mheshimiwa Dr. Manduku's constituency, where he says that there's 3 billion. 3 billion been launched, nothing completed. So we have to start distinguishing this, because nyinyi ni wasomi na mimi na watuma, and then kwenu murudi hapa museme ni nini, what are those 3 projects that your president, Dr. William Samoei Kipchirchir Arap Ruto, has started since he came to power, na amefanya na ikafanyika, na hiyo pesa ilitoka wapi? Na kama ukipata, tafadhali tuletee hapa tuzungumze. That is how we build a country. Lakini hii yote ya nini, I'm okay with the politics, and I'm very proud of the Linda Mwananchi rally in Kisumu. They did a very good job. But now let's go back to the trenches. And in my neck of the hood, Paul Nyamira, sorry guys, I land by saying nothing has been done. Thank you very much. You guys are doing God's work. Continue doing it. Bye.
Asante sana. Justice for All says Nyamira Nada. And that's why I would love to. I see, Olive, are you on the mic? We seem to be having very different stuff happening. On one side, I see you on the mic. On the other one, I don't see you. Can you just confirm to me, Olive? I guess you are not on the mic. Abaya utakufia
No, I
team.
think she is.
Yeah,
I can see her on the mic.
Hello, Eli. I'm on the mic, but I'm on translate. I'll be home in like 5 minutes or so.
Asante, Santi. That is Olive. Olive is actually been trying very hard to stay on the call. And reason being, she's part and parcel of the Linda Mwananchi group that has been going around to tell Kenyans Munaibiwa. Abaya, since you're here and you are representing the team, let me just take a quick follow-up question with you, and then we go to the next speaker, who is Kabuya, and then Marabu, in that order. Abaya, except this aspect of Kenyans feeling now you are opening their eyes to the reality about kuibiwa na kudanganywa kuhusu maendeleo. What is Linda Mwananchi doing different that has not been done before? Because if it's juu ya magari, you've proved to us it's not just Ruto that does that. If it is moving crowds, you've said you're taking this from the script of Raila Odinga, and they are students of Raila. What is it different this time round? Abaya.
Thank you, Eli. I'll go back in history kidogo. In 2008, when Fidel Castro was stepping down to leave his brother Raul Castro to take over the leadership of Cuba, that information reached the then president of the US, George W. Bush, and what he said in reaction to that process of exchanging power, he said that what Cuba had done was replacing a dictator with another dictator. Right now, as we speak, and to answer your question, what Linda Mwananchi is doing differently, Linda Mwananchi, the two gentlemen who are steering, who have been said to be the face of this Linda Mwananchi, Babu and Sifuna, know very well that without the people, they are nothing. And I will repeat, they are very clever people, and they know that without the people, without the numbers, they are nothing. And that is why they've been very keen at listening to the people. What do the people want? Unlike the leaders that you've mentioned, the likes of William Ruto. Ruto does not ask you what you want. He does what he wants. So on the other hand, Linda Mwananchi is actually showing us that a government is actually formed by the people, as it is well stipulated in the preamble. So what Linda Mwananchi wants to do is actually replace William Ruto, and not having him go is to replace him. Replacing him means we have to replace the entire system that he holds. We have to replace the people around him, make sure that nobody makes way back into government. That is why actually Babu said that we are going to come and tell you who are the people to be given mandate even at the grassroots level to represent the people. We want to uproot his leadership style. We want to uproot imperialism that has been bedeviling this country. You can imagine a president who does not even follow the budget. I don't know where he comes with these figures that he runs around with. He comes and tells you that I'm going to allocate 100 million to build something that doesn't even exist. So that is the kind of solutions that Linda Mwananchi wants to give. And as you asked, what are we doing differently? What we are doing differently, we are bringing this to the grassroots level. We want to listen more to the people. You've seen public participation being done in this country. Public participation should not be done when there is an element of mobilization. This person who comes to public participation does not come independently. He must come to appease someone so that they can be given a token. But what you've seen with the Linda Mwananchi rallies, there's no any kind of mobilization. It's just putting a word out there and posters and say that we are coming to Nakuru, and people show up in numbers without mobilization. So they are coming there independently. And the leaders take time to listen, what do these people want? And Sifuna and the rest, they know very well that without these people, they are nothing. Thank you.
Thank you, Abaya. I really think we need to start finding a way to come to the conclusion of this talk, except the fact that I know a lot of you still want to speak. So I'll go directly to Kabuya, and then we'll return to you, Noella. So if there's something that you want to add, and then we can start going around the room. Redemptor, great to see you here. Marabu, also, I appreciate your presence. Kabuya, should I say Kafuya?
Yes, either is okay. It's actually Kafoya, which is the way it's meant to be pronounced. And but if you anglicize it, Kabuya will do. Thank you.
First of all, are you still vying? Last time I checked, you were trying to get yourself elected.
Yes, I'm still vying for the Udhaya parliamentary seat.
Hapa kwa X ama kwa ground?
Wacha hata sasa leo nimefurahi sana na nitawaambia wakati nitaanza in 10 seconds. I'll tell you I am very happy.
All right, go
ahead. But I am still a very serious candidate, and greetings to you, Eli and Obed, and the whole Mizani fraternity here.
Karibu sana.
Some good friends, habari zenu. So let me say hi first to Abaya, and I'm very, very proud of Abaya, because Abaya unasikia, some people don't believe that I have been a serious contender on the ground. Last time Abaya and I met in a person was actually in Udhaya, where I hosted Abaya and a team that he had with him from the Presidential Exploration Committee of Kiomtata that time. And they were coming to Nyeri County, and so I mobilized Nyeri County in Udhaya town. It gathered representatives from its 6 constituencies in Udhaya, and we received them. So wale mnaonanga kama I'm running on X. Sasa brother inbox Abaya na huko na watumia mpaka picha zake. Unajua labda zangu ziko ni za AI, I
can confirm.
Can you? Eburudia?
Yes, I can confirm, and it's good to hear from you, Kabuya.
Yeah. Great to see you, Abaya. You know, I saw you shared this space earlier in the day in one of the groups we share. So thanks a lot. So Asante, and congrats to you. And is it Noella on the opportunity you have to, showcase and develop yourselves? That's how I want to start my brief submission. Is to ask you. I'm very impressed to hear when you began. You told us you're 26. I knew that before, but great that you put it out there. My first time to hear Noella, but to say maximize this opportunity you have showcasing your leadership skills, your competencies, your knowledge, and you definitely be a step ahead, no matter how things end up, than you would have been if you somewhat were not involved. That said, I do want to share my little misgivings about how the Mwananchi is being Lindward. And I don't know the utilization of the word movement. And I want to believe that what we are seeing is nothing more than the usual election-guided, election cycle, reactionary politics that try to appease hungry and angry Kenyans by attacking non-existing enemies. It's like a drama. Because when we look at Kenya's problem really is known from when we became a nation called Kenya, a people branded as Kenya, is class struggle, which was a problem introduced to us by the imperialists who came, as I did in a few other colonies. It's a problem of many human societies going back, but it's a problem we still have. And once in a while in this country, we are almost breaking out of the matrix. We're almost realizing, this is a real deal here that we need to fight. And then suddenly, we are drawn back into some made-up games. Tribal cocoons being the best format of the game. The second one is made-up enemies, who we know as one of the people who spoke earlier helped us to understand. These are really friends. They're in a world of their own. That's the class division. They're in a world of their own. They attend each other's weddings. And they're not simply weddings. They have a lifestyle that is cemented. And this is what you call the comprador bourgeoisie. This is a class that is a buffer between global power or global interests and the local rabble. The rabble, the Mwananchi, the common Mwananchi, who does not know his right hand from the left hand. There's this buffer that should be able to master the language of the Holoi Poloi, of the Wanjiko, and use this language to make Wanjiko feel like they are being understood, while at the same time, they're also able to understand the interests of a few global interests and maintain that politics. It doesn't matter who comes in, who leaves. And I have a theory that every few decades, we hope the matrix almost catches a glitch, and we come out and look at it. Whether you call it the struggle for independence, you call it the second liberation, the independence struggle of the 50s and early 60s, the second liberation struggle of the 80s culminating in the 90s, and 30 years later, maybe what we saw in 2024, 2025, as our young people went to the streets as something kind of simmered and exploded, and we almost saw what the matrix was, and then suddenly the major distribution of a blue pill, and we were back. Allow me to say that I do think Linda Mwananchi is reactionary. It's reacting to a crisis of the death of Baba. It's also a secondary reaction to how Baba himself, before his passing, was reacting with William Ruto to that manufactured crisis of Rigiji. Even the Rigiji itself crisis was also created to remove our eyes from that moment that we came close to in 2024, 2025, when we saw what this country could be, when we saw the animosity, when we were calling really to account. And I want to disagree with my very good friend, Justice. Yes, we agree on many things, and we also disagree on a few. I don't think we need a movement funded to the tune of billions, moving around in vehicles and to do oversight work. So to do oversight, to check if money was put somewhere and if that money has been utilized. Why do we have 290 elected members of parliament and others, and many others dominated and in different, in the upper house? This is their first basic, very easy duty. It's on paper. It's on a very plain piece of paper that says representation, legislation, and oversight. Sasa where is this all this big thing covering our, hata hatuwezi kusema tumeshinda mbio ati wanaenda kuangalia oversight. So where is the problem really? And this is why I say that when we say MP, I disagree that we have today members of parliament. I believe we have what we call members of the presidency. To elect someone who goes in and is captured, na anakuwa is a member of the presidency, to come to the constituency and say nilikuwa na mkubwa na nimeongea na mkubwa, and that type of what we may call state capture or parliamentary presidential capture of our members of parliament, where they go, and they become captured. I don't think what we are observing is any different. I think what we are seeing here is an expression of boardroom politics that is going on. You know, these budgets.
So,
yes.
Kafuya, I hear you, and
Yeah.
I
I was
know.
about to land, but you can go ahead. You want to clarify
You
something?
know, I'm a bit constrained because we are running now really out of time. And I would love for us to maximize on this opportunity because of the issues you've raised. So if you allow me, the brigade that is within Linda Mwananchi is here with us. And probably the things you've said, I would really want to find their clarity and right of response. So if you allow me, let me just ask Noella this, and if Noella you're there, Kafuya has mentioned this could be possibly a reactionary movement. Is that what you are as Linda Mwananchi, especially from the women aspect, young women aspect? And number two, do you think you are not passing the information in terms of what exactly Linda Mwananchi is all about? Because from the understanding of Kafuya, is that the things that legislatures are supposed to be doing, it's what you are telling us on the street, and that is a non-starter. Noella, if you don't mind, I'd like for you to respond to that and probably cue in your colleague Olive, who is also on the line, and then a last one by Abaya, and then I can take the last round from the other speakers. Seems like we don't have Noella. Olive, are you there?
I'm in.
Okay, Noella is there. Go ahead.
Ellie, please come again with the questions because I think I'm having some network hiccups. Huh? Please just come again. Ellie?
Yes, can you hear me, Noella?
Yeah, I can hear you
so
now.
It's just
Please
a follow-up. Okay, I think it will be better once you're in a silent place, then I'll come to you. Allow me to go to Abaya.
Okay.
Abaya, if you can hear me, you listened to Kafuya's submission, and he's asking, what is this Linda Mwananchi all about? Because it's more of a reactionary political chant. Is that what you see Linda Mwananchi as? And number two, do we really need people to invest in millions of money to run around in rallies to tell us tunaibiwa? Or is this a misrepresentation of what Linda Mwananchi is all about? Abaya.
First of all, I think everyone would have their own interpretation of what Linda Mwananchi is. But of course, Linda Mwananchi is a movement on its own, a movement that has been formed, that is now on its building process. I wouldn't really want to say that it has now reached a certain, because even if when you look at it keenly, it doesn't have even structures. So at this point, everyone would want to look at or interpret Linda Mwananchi in their own ways, and that is the beauty of our democracy. And when you say that your last question, you said that do we need people to run around using millions to come and tell us our problems? Remember, these people are also in parliament. So I believe that is part of their roles as part of oversight. So them going around the country to tell the people that this is happening and that is not happening as it was supposed to be, or as it was supposed to happen, I see nothing wrong there. Because at the end of the day, we want to reach everyone, even including at the grassroots. There are people, I can tell you, for instance, there are people who do not even understand what this government has done to them, starting from the overborrowing that they have done. As we speak right now, I was checking the figures. William Ruto has borrowed over 4 trillion in a span of 3 years. So when you tell them, they'll have more reasons of not voting for this government, because if we give them another chance of coming back, and given that it will be their last term, it will be suicidal to this country. So Linda Mwananchi going around the country telling the people exactly what the government has done, for me, I see no problem in that.
All right. Thank you very much, Abaya. Whose mic is on? Okay, Abaya, I seem to be
Eli,
having problems. Yes, Obeds, go ahead.
so I think I'd like to hear what Redemptor has, and I think it's important to have that voice. I don't know if I'm cue jumping, but I'd like to allow her to speak. One, because I know she comes from a human rights front, and especially issues to do with extrajudicial killings, and she's done an excellent job. Redemptor, thanks and nice to see you. What do you make of the Linda Mwananchi? What are they doing? And is William Ruto the best alternative? Because they don't seem to have an agenda, as it's been said. They're only saying one term.
I don't want to jump Marabu.
I would still, with your permission, I allow you to speak, then I'd have Marabu. There's a good reason for that. Marabu, thank you for being a gentleman as always.
Yeah, because these days I'm finding myself quoting Marabu even in my head. So I appreciate all of you.
So he's gonna give you notes. We can allow him to go before you.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Let me go. I say that because he says I held a space recently, and he said something so profound that I would want to start with it, because he said, he said, I don't think we are at a place to convince anyone anymore about Ruto first or second term. I think everyone has taken a stand up to this point. And so I've listened to the space, and I appreciate all the speakers. And I want to draw on something Ras G said when he said all these rivers eventually will end up in Indian Ocean. And I look at this, it's okay to be a hopeful cynic in terms of when you see them all excited and seeing the rallies, there's a part of you that becomes very cynical. And you are like, I've seen this before. But because we are on Linda Mwananchi, let me tell you what Linda Mwananchi has done to redefine our politics. I will take mine, same example with Ras G, but let me make it more relatable. If you're going on a journey and the bus breaks down, you have an option for the company to bring you another bus, or because you're in a group of 60 people, you decide wengine wachukuliwe, and I think that's where we are as a country. The bus broke down mid-journey, and that's why we are not at election time, and people are already saying two-term kuna wale wanasema tutangojea mpaka hii gari kuwe fixed, lakini kuna wale wako na haraka, they have to get to the destination. So I think all these movements, I was overly critical in the beginning. And there's something the young people said in a space, and they said, the politicians are infiltrating into our protests because June 25th anniversary is coming near. And I asked them, but the politicians could also argue you're infiltrating into their politics. So you cannot misplace these people who have been doing this for 20 years. And so when you see them kivumbi them, they probably, because of classism, them watachukua Ubers, watachukua Kahaya, watachukua Chopa. Sisi tutabaki hapa tukingojea hiyo gari. But what has happened? What has changed? For one, I was young and now I'm old. I never thought I would live to see the son of Jaramogi, the first prime minister of Kenya, being told to go in Kisumu. So something drastically has changed. The fact that Oburu could be challenged, even when he inherited a very powerful position, that tells you power shifted. And someone was right to say the Linda Mwananchi, by saying Linda Mwananchi, already acknowledged that ODM had lost the people. Even the great Sifuna one time said, I'm not leaderless, like some of you. I have a leader. Kasmuel has no leader or doesn't know who the leader is. Who else is leaderless? So we find ourselves there. ODM is leaderless and maybe ladderless. All those things they made fun of. So the nature bores a vacuum of it. And so there's a vacuum. And I think the young man has said that we don't have leaders, we have politicians, but we have to make do with the politicians. So that was one of the biggest things I saw in terms of I was looking forward to see Gunism and to see Atandis what come to pass. So for me, that was a very glorious moment because I saw crowds. I've been seeing crowds with Linda Mwananchi that are not branded. Because when you look at the crowds of ODM and look at the UDA and DCP, they look the same. They're still following the script. They don't know. So something drastically has changed. And I think when I heard Babu saying that we will even decide for you at the grassroots who not to vote for, my radar went up and I thought dictatorship. And then I said, no, that is also another thing that has shifted. The party dictated who you voted for, but now here are these people in group A, group B saying we will decide for you. So the dictatorship has always been there in terms of pretending there's nomination. Kavuya, I hear you. I hear your sentiments. But if we go that route of looking for, I remember Marabu when you told us to compromise very early on, and I was not ready to compromise. But I'm getting to a point where I realize now we are at the political stage. So what do we say? So kama sisi ile gari inakuja tuingia watu wawili hatutosheki, tunaulizana na Marabu, tupande hii, hapana, tungojee the next one. I think that's where we are. And the realization that people are not paid to go for Linda Mwananchi rallies is interesting because there are many people who vote who don't go for rallies. There are many people who vote who will not go to State House. So I like the frustration of the leaders who thought there's something. Let me go very quickly. I've just watched the interview by Altosi with the Manora. I didn't watch all of it, but there's something he said. He said by now the pecking order would have been all the ODM MPs are bought. So I told you over a year ago that this is not even a marathon. I told you this is a relay. So anybody who is compromised, bought, ameshiba, will have to drop the baton, we pick it up, or they pass it on. So I think Linda Mwananchi is redefining the politics in a way. We don't still trust them. We still have a trust deficit in this country. But I think at the end of this, we are all saying we want a leader. I think there's a vacuum in this nation. And so when Raila died, we didn't know where we would go from here. The same thing I keep asking those people who come mockingly and say, if not Ruto, who? Then I ask, what if he dies? I think what Raila's death has taught us is if we put all our hopes in an individual, if we saw Sankara, we saw Patrice Lumumba, they were too eager to say what they will do to the Muzungu, and the Muzungu did them. So I don't think anybody should be telling anyone to announce they are going to be the president. I think I like what's going on in the country now. And again, to tell you, I thought by now would have accepted and moved on. The fact that Kenyans have not accepted and moving on, this woye pity party mentality that we go and sympathize with the person who's been aggrieved. It was Gashagwa, now it is Sifuna. How about it is the people? How about the pity party or the empathy or the sympathy is for ourselves? The realization, oh my God, we have been tumedhulumiwa kama wa Kenya. We woye ourselves enough to pick ourselves up and say, we are going to listen to all of you. But at the end of the day, we are the ones who will decide if you're worthy to be our leader. It's interesting to watch. My greatest celebration, let me say, was that nobody died in Kisumu. So for that, I am really, you said human rights. For that, I am very grateful. In terms of if it was goon meets goons and they Choma two pikipikis, they did a good job in terms of it would have been such a bad picture. We still continue to mourn the death of the young man in Kitengela. That was uncalled for, that was unnecessary for him to get killed. So I think we are in a good place in terms of who next. We saw Kizaza DCP kakuja kivumbi, something else came on. I think it's gonna be subtle. We might even end up just getting a house, someone who's a housemaker, a homemaker, or a comedian, the Ukraine people, and make them the president. So I like that the regime watchers, sympathizers, they never sleep. And when you listen to their voices and when you listen to their comments, because we are at a place of discernment, you feel the hatred in their voices, you feel the desperation in their voices of kama si Ruto nani, kama si Ruto ni sisi tunaamua. I think that's my submission. I think the spaces are coming back. Let's keep talking, because when unchecked power meets silence, then we have no nation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Redemptor. And you see now there's a reason why I allowed you to speak. Spoken eloquently and in a very nice way, that it's a season that still has not, there's no clarity, and given that there's much more to be seen between now and the election period. So I don't want to overemphasize the point. Marabu's talk, it's your turn, and I hope you have something for Redemptor to pick from you, maybe for today or another time.
Well, greetings, Obed, Mizani, Redemptor. I hope I'm coming through.
Can hear you 100%, Marabu.
Yeah, Obed, so less than a fortnight ago, if you are a keen follower of news and conversation, especially on the national television, you would have come across professors, doctors, goons giving warning to the Linda Mwananchi team not to go to Kisumu. And this had taken traction, especially with the government sympathizers, because they did not want Linda Mwananchi to go to Kisumu because it would expose the nakedness of the king. And they were avoiding this at all costs. And you would hear people calling themselves professionals, doctors, I don't know in which fields, claiming that it was in the best interest of Sifuna to avoid the Nyanza region. What did our brothers do? They set out, prayed, and went. And what came out of that? The largest crowd that we've ever seen in a Linda Mwananchi rally in the heart of Kisumu, validating their hold on the ODM movement. And that is what the people who were warning them against going there did not want the country to see. The Kisumu rally, what it has redefined, as much as confirmed something that we knew, is that the people on the ground are no longer with the leadership. The people on the ground are looking for an alternative. And whether this alternative is going to come in the name of Sifuna, of Babu Owino, of Maraga, of anybody, it just shows that the people are anxious to have something else rather than this man in State House today. That is a reality. So it's not something that you can hide anymore. After this, I'm sure Linda Mwananchi is going to come to Nairobi. I hope they don't do it in June 25th because it's going to be murder, like we say it. So Kenyans have shown that they are ready for change. Sifuna is just a vessel of the aspirations of Kenyans. And when you hear Kenyans say that Sisi ni Sifuna, it's not a person. I hear my friend Western say we are about personality. It's not about personality. We have taken a person and we've made them an embodiment of our plight. Should be so simple for somebody in academia to understand this. We are not following a person. This person is following the people. And the people have noticed this and they have taken him to be the symbol of the people. And that should be very obvious to anybody. Linda Mwananchi has also redefined the issue of funding of politics. That you don't have to really spend 400 million to call people to your rally. That you can have an organic crowd that gives you the love and the respect that a leader should have. Understand? That you don't have to buy your way to leadership. Our friends on the other side have to pay people to come to their campaign rallies. Our people out there have to use police to stop Linda Mwananchi rallies because people are going to go there in mammoth crowds. Understand? So Linda Mwananchi is redefining not just the political space, but also the economics that come with politics. And it is good for us because the incumbent is going to spend billions campaigning. We on this side are going to do it out of love and still win. So Linda Mwananchi has changed, shifted the paradigm. What has it redefined? It has redefined the age that you have to be old and be called Doctor Who, Dr. Oburu, Dr. Root, or Dr. Matiangi to be somebody in this republic. No. But we say that young people come and you speak, you see the ladies that they carry there, the Abizwena, the Gen Z buddies, people who come out of nowhere and they're given a chance to be part of this movement. You think you can go to Linda ground and you've been given a chance for you to speak out of nowhere? So Linda Mwananchi has redefined politics, brought it to the ground. And if you ask me for my honest opinion, I would say this about micro and macro politics. That Linda Ground, UDA, they're dealing on the macro politics, the big people politics, the politics of the ruling upper class. But Linda Mwananchi has come to the micro politics to deal with the little person, not just out of conjecture or sloganeering, but in reality and out of love. And the people see this and they replicate it and they show them love in return. And this is how our country is going to be made. We don't have to reimagine that these people don't have their policies, don't have what they want to do for Kenya. It doesn't start like that. Building a country starts with an idea that people can coalesce about, that people can relate to, that people want to own. And once they own it, then you will get the suggestions of how to run a country from the people. We don't want leaders, we want workers. Thank you very much for the time and God bless.
Thank you so much, Marabu. And there's hope. That's what you imply, that as long as the people are involved, there's hope. It's a good way of thinking. But also, what I pick from your conversation is that people, by identifying with Sifuna, are not necessarily identifying with the person, but they're identifying with the man who carries the ambition and the aspirations they have. How do we make that a reality? Eli, back to you. I think you had something to say, and I think then we look at how we start to have this conversation come to an end.
The Bigger Picture with Obet Oriku and Likuyani Eli. For more information, visit www.mizani254.org. Mizani 254, where the scales of balance are restored and meaningful conversations thrive.
Well, indeed, you tuned to Court FM. It is 2 minutes after 11 p.m. Kenyan time. On the Monday Bigger Picture, we are having a conversation on Linda Mwananchi. For those of you who are tuned in, we'd love to get your feedback. You can always do that on +254 7143 on WhatsApp. And for now, we cross over back to the conversation in the room. And clearly, there are different angles to look at this talk. And maybe that's where I want to bring in our main speakers of the day in order to try and conclude the talk, because clearly we are out of time. Now, a lot has been said about Linda Mwananchi and what it encompasses, but then there are some issues that definitely we need to look into. And for me, one thing I would like to ask the Linda Mwananchi Brigade who are represented here tonight, why do you feel Kisumu was a success? Because apparently most of us are looking at it and thinking it went well. At least I agree with Redemptor, my sister, who says we were very happy not to hear that anybody lost their lives in Kisumu. I will start with you, Noella, if you're able to join us on the mic. If not, just give me a thumbs down and then I'll see what to do. If not, we'll have, of course, the man who has been holding the room for all of us, Abaya. Abaya, if you're there, I believe it's your time to pick up the mic.
Yes. Thank you. And I think Kisumu was a success in a number of ways, depending on how you want to look at it. First of all, as the other speaker said, I think it's Redemptor said that we didn't have people uh, losing their lives simply because of politics, as it happened in Kitengela, because at first in the morning there were tensions that the team was going to be attacked at around Kondele. So that was a success in its own. And then number two, looking at the numbers that turned out, because people were really waiting to see how many, what kind of a crowd are these people going to pull. And looking at the numbers again, it was a success in its own. And of course, it happened as a, of course, this was politics. And as a politician, you want to take over the narrative. And it has been talk of town since yesterday. And people have not stopped talking about it. That is a success on its own. But above all, to me, it was a success in a way that it gave me hope that because we've been fearing that Kisumu has been taken by this regime, but then looking at the numbers and the people who attended and seeing them chant one time, it really gave me hope that we are going to take this government home, and not just home, but take everything that looks like them home. And I hope you get what I mean. So to me, it instilled hope in me that indeed going into the future, we're going to redefine our politics. We are going to have people speak directly to their leaders, as it happened in Kisumu. We want it to be a more of a people-driven movement, not just about individuals. And I agree with what Marabu has said, because all the time when it's about an individual, it now turns out to be it's a one man running the show, like what William Ruto is doing. It doesn't consult anybody, it doesn't consult the people. So we want it to be more of a people driven movement. So I have hope, the hope that I got from Kisumu, that indeed we're going to bring change in the near future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Abaya. And you talk about hope. Olive, you have been in the organizing secretary committee, ensuring that young women are involved in this discussion that is a national conversation now. What did you do different to see the success that now all of us are really saying, well done? Olive.
Eli, I think there's something that most of us do not talk about. It's there's this phrase that inasemwa vijana ni viongozi wa kesho, and for the longest time we have waited for that tomorrow na hakuna siku ishaifika. We see the likes, I wouldn't want to mention names, but he wears purple. I mean, you have been in that office, you're blocking the young people from getting in office, while we have the likes of Bwana Orengo, who's actually trying to hold the young men's hand, like he's guiding Babu and Sifuna, showing them the right way to go. But then again, you're like, if the young people, Nala, can you wait? So the young people have decided to take the mantle. They have decided that it's time for them to lead. And the reason as to why for us we felt like this was different is because the young people refused to be exploited by the political class. I mean, yes, we had hired goons who had been paid, and some leaders actually proclaimed it online that Kisumu hakutaendeka, msijaribu kufika Kisumu. But when we got to the ground, the people who we thought were the ones hired, let me say the ones who were hired, actually joined the group. They were like, you know what, yes, we have been paid, but peace comes first. The young people are woke. They have decided that it is time for them to show that these leaders, enough is enough. You're not going to use us. You're not going to pour our blood in the name of protecting you. So, and that is one thing that Linda Mwananchi is very straight about, that it is we are not just defending politicians, but it is about defending the citizens of the Republic of Kenya from bad leadership. We're also standing against corruption, and then we don't want Kenyans to feel like they're being silenced, ignored, or mistreated, especially the youth. When you look at the Linda Mwananchi Brigade, the youths have been given a very big platform. Let me say that, because the likes of Bwana Orengo, he says that he's the acting party leader, but I mean, who are the people pushing the Linda Mwananchi forward? It is the young people. Sifuna, Kina Noela, they are holding women, like uplifting women. They're like, you know what, you need. Yesterday we were told, if you're not on the table, make sure you break that table. And that is what the young people are going to do. As from today, we will stand counted, because Linda Mwananchi has shown us that we need to be counted in every table.
Thank you, Olive. You say it's no longer
Thank you,
about.
thank you.
Can I just cue you first, Keegan? It will be in order for us to do that, kindly. Thank you very much. Olive, I love the fact that you talk about the young people and the leadership. And of course, you talk about us being told we are the leaders of tomorrow, but today we are there. If you can't be on the table as part of the conversation, you are literally breaking it. Noela, you broke the internet with a lot of good images coming from Kisumu, and I really want to reiterate on that because of the very important fact that Redemptor shared. No one died in Kisumu because of politics. How did you get that right, Noela?
No one was killed.
No one was killed by government.
Okay.
Thank you.
No one was killed by government or goons or any other political players. Noela, what did you get right? And has Kisumu set the standard for how we are going to engage politically moving forward? Noela. I doubt Noela is able to join us. I guess we'll just allow this to be a question in the room. Quickly, let's move to you, Keegan. Good evening.
Thank you very much, Noela. I think if you've happened to join us second late, then sorry, you imeenda. So first of all, it's good to have all of you, and we just need to get into what is most important for today and for what is happening in the nation. It is actually a good day because it was planned as a good day. It was not a coincidence that they were very few, if any, police manning a very, very organized Linda Mwananchi crusade. And I hope that will also be said in person, maybe also in letter, because when they protest in letters. So I'm hoping when things are also done right, also say, thank you very much. You accorded us the right respect when we went to Kondele. And you know, Kondele is the heartbeat of Raila, and Raila is the heartbeat of protest, and protest is the heartbeat of the people. Now, Atandi, I want to say also, was out of his way, and we sometimes will let that take the better of us because it is all pure emotions. Now, as for the deaths, you know, I know if there is one person who has been waiting for any death to occur, it is none other than the man in the mountain. And I think for that one, we have caught him off guard because that will not happen. But, you know, they are big boys. Then there are small boys like Gashagwa. Gashagwa is a small boy because he was not nurtured by anyone. He is a test tube baby that was only used once. And only once for MP. And MP, he did one term, alafu presidency akafanya as deputy half term. But then,
Are we
we
still
have
with
to
Linda
look at.
Mwananchi? I just want to
So,
follow
Yes,
you,
so
Kigen.
yeah, because
exactly.
I'm going to Sifuna. Because I'm going to Sifuna.
Okay, because of the luxury
When
of
we talk
time,
about
just go to
Sifuna,
it.
no,
Go
when
ahead.
we go to Sifuna, and people will catch feelings out of this. But Sifuna is the grade A.
Kigen, listen. I have a lot of respect for what you're saying, but I would appreciate order in this sense that if you're going to speak, allow us to guide the conversation and you cannot overrule. So my request would be prosecute your point, but if you need to clarify, it's important that you do. I allow you to prosecute your point.
Thank you. Much obliged. Edwin Sifuna. Edwin Sifuna, as far as I am concerned, is still the Secretary General of ODM. And his seat will always be there. However, we have some issue with how he is moving around with the people he is associating with. And those people can also give him a
Kigen, you
crowd.
have an issue with him as who? Are you a member of ODM or UDA? Or are you a member of Linda Mwananchi?
I could be a member of at least two at the same time. But let us talk about good PR. Let us talk about good PR. I am a member.
A member of Linda Mwananchi, UDA, broad-based. I mean, because I would like to understand where you're speaking from. It's also easy to be able to have a conversation that is informed.
Can I tell you in plain black and white?
Yes, that's what I'm asking.
I am a member of William Samoei Ruto.
Good. Prosecute your point.
And UDA is a member of William Samoei Ruto. And ODM is a brainchild of William Samoei Ruto. And I am Kigen. Kimngeno Koech.
Maybe.
I hear you, Kigen. You know why we're having difficulty? It's because you are a member of William Ruto, and I didn't know William Ruto is a political party, but now I know. Thank you for the guidance. So that we can move forward, why do you have a problem with Secretary General, former Secretary General, because as it is, it's in limbo, Edwin Sifuna's Linda Mwananchi outfit? And don't you think they have actually raised the bar when it comes to public engagement? And why do you think they need to actually appreciate government for not killing its people?
Okay, first things first. To begin with, Edwin Sifuna, on his own relation, has said that he is still the Secretary General of ODM. And I am on record saying that we respect him. And I have also said that even the outcasts or those newcomers with the tomboya type of hairstyle cannot be in any way in a position to try to call him out. I have been on record saying that because I respect Katibu Mkuu wa chama cha ODM. Secondly, these people are welcome back home. There is nowhere bigger than this. If you want political suicide, I already gave my alternative, which is something I know or I hope is being sought after right now, because what I say is not out of creation of air. It is well thought out. And my friend, I think we are not too foolish to say that all shall be well so long as all is understood, because those people, even who are trying to be the guardians of the new outfit, you see, now we still call it Linda Mwananchi, but where is that Renaissance thing? The only person I can respect alikuwa ametoka hivyo hivyo ni Caleb Amisi, lakini Caleb Amisi ndugu yangu wa Kilimani asiende hivyo hivyo akipeleka watu wetu. Hapana, huyu Sifuna tunamtaka, na huyu Sifuna we want to baptize him again and we will call him whatever name he wants, lakini akae ngangari juu. We should not run away from his inheritance.
All right, we hear you, Kigen. You say you want Sifuna back. I'm just happy that when you are presenting your case, we actually were able to identify why you are not happy that your former close ally Sifuna is now deciding to reshape and discuss politics differently with the Linda Mwananchi outfit. But we will see if things change in the closer future. Earlier on, Olive also told us about Men in Purple. I'm also happy that we live in a time when we don't need to listen to Prince and the Revolution singing Purple Rain, because some people will think they are being targeted because of their age. Let's go to you, Noella. Final remarks on this topic. I know you've had a long day, and then I'll clear with the other plenary speakers. Noella, free hit.
Okay, thank you so much. Apologies, team, for the hiccups. Now, my final remarks on how I felt Kisumu was a success. Initially, when we were preparing for this rally, there was so much intimidations, even from honorable leaders, leaders whom we've worked with before, leaders whom we've allied with before, have threatened. They have threatened the movement and told the movement that they should not dare step foot in Kisumu. But we thank God that even with the blessings of Mzee Raila Amolo Odinga, when we went to give our last respects on Saturday, was it Saturday evening? He gave, I think alitupatia nini zake, baraka zake, akasema watoto wangu mnafanya kazi mzuri, because that is what Baba believed in. He believed in the people. Baba chose the people first. All his rallies, he would always want to hear what the people say. And that is what Edwin Sifuna has been saying all this time, ever since Baba left us. He has been saying, hata angusha Baba, hata kubali watapeli wachukue chama ya Baba. And that is why the people, they have the party, but we have the members of the party. And members of the party showed up in Kisumu. There were so many threats that happened on Sunday morning. On Sunday morning, when we were leaving the hotel where we were having our briefing, they had planned goons for us at the airport to storm our vehicles. But sisi ni nani, tulifika. And we thank God that there's a speaker who talked about there's no one who died. We just thank God that Kisumu was very peaceful. Kisumu people are very peaceful. And anyone who is purporting to call Kisumu a place of violence should not see the light of day, I can tell you, because Kisumu people are very, very peaceful people. They welcomed their son, Babu Owino, in Nyalenda, all the way. We had a procession all the way from Nyalenda to War Stadium, and the people of Kisumu have decided, and nobody, even the purported leaders who are talking about how Linda ground. It is okay. It is okay to pick a side, because that is democracy. You can decide to be on the Linda ground side or the Linda Mwananchi side. But democracy dictates that you allow people to assemble. If these people really, if the Linda ground faction really believed in what Baba said and what Baba used to stand for, they will uphold democracy and let the people of Kisumu decide for themselves. But yesterday, the people of Kisumu decided, na walisema ni Babu kwa sababu, and na wao ndio Sifuna. Thank you so much.
Asante sana, that is Noella. And let me get a final one from you, Olive. Kisumu happened, and from where I sit, it has shown us there's a difference and an evolution on how politics is being done. Do you think that now becomes the yardstick of how political public rallies should be done? Olive.
Mine, I think we need to change how it's done. We need to move away from exploitation and the political class using the young people to settle scores. So, for me, what I would tell my people is that history will not the people who waited. It will only remember us, the people who went to the street, the people who stood up and spoke up. Because we have carried the weight of our country for way too long, and it's now time to carry our responsibility, the responsibility of leading the country. And that is why the young people are fully behind young leaders, Sifuna and Babu, because it is our time. And well, I think we should not be remembered for waiting. We need to be remembered for leading, and it's time for us. So vijana tuchukue hizo positions. Abaya, I believe you're going to be the senator of Kisii very soon. I want to see Noella in those spaces. I want to see myself in those spaces leading the country. So yeah, that is my final take. Vijana wachukue hizi positions sasa.
Thank you very much, Olive and team. That is, we did have Olive, who is the Secretary General, Linda Mwananchi Young Women. We were also speaking to Noela Olukere. Wamesema mzoe jina mapema because she's gonna be a honorable. Hajatuambia ni wapi anasimama. Maybe she will tell us.
Secretary Mizani Eli.
Say again. I said Secretary General, didn't I? Ulikuwa umelala. And we did have President Linda Mwananchi Young Women, that is Noela Olukere, and Abaya Onyengo, who is Secretary General Changemakers National Alliance, and says he's been sifunward na analinda wananchi. Now, to cross over to the plenary, we do have a couple of you who have already the mics. We'll try request you do it under 5 minutes, please. We are constrained with time. Let's start with you, Teacher Wanda. Good evening to you, sir. How are you doing?
Good evening, Eli. I'm doing quite well. I'm happy to be on the platform.
It looks like all of you have been taking good training. I mean, for the first time, it's like Marabu bought a new gadget. His audio was crispy clear. So is Teacher Wanda. Nini ninaendelea? You guys have improved. Are you hosting podcasts?
Not really. Ni Singapore.
Enyewe ina work. Go ahead, sir.
No, I'll begin with the rally in Kisumu, and I'm happy that. Let me start by this. I believe in Linda Mwananchi. I affiliate with the movement. I'm a sad member of ODM who feels like the party is not the party that Baba left us with. Now, I look into, and I'm happy that we are having key persons in the Linda Mwananchi management and part of it all. One, I'll be sad to hear as Linda Mwananchi celebrating the success of Kisumu just because it was peaceful. Politically, if you analyze politics that way, then you make it easier for your opponent to make it hard for you in the next rallies. If you celebrate your success because no one lost lives, because it was peaceful, then your opponent will easily cause chaos in the next rallies. Then it will make you define yourselves as failures because you have failed to stage a peaceful campaign or meeting, just because you're already telling them that if you do a peaceful rally according to is a success. Therefore, I would wish that we look at we define success by how we dismantle the opponent, by how we champion for our policies, but not reduce ourselves into making it. And you'll be shocked that cut across the country, Kenyans are peaceful, but politician knows how to plant goons and run out. And run with the day. So they will plant goons, they will cause chaos, then they will define your team as not a peaceful team, a team full of chaos. you name it all. And therefore, if you make it easier for a person to define you as peaceful and chaotic, then you make the opponent win. Now, into these others, I'm one person who will clearly say I will not vote for President Ruto, and I don't. I mean, on grounds that it may be as an individual okay, but I don't agree with the number of persons that he's working with. There are times when I see people in the name of the bloggers being either this slogan of 527 shillings, of which if a few individuals can be paid to champion for a government cause, if as a government under the Ruto regime is when we are seeing goons and goons active, politicians now planting goons, the Chingororo and the Angolo Msumbiji are soon about to be the order of the day. Then to me, I don't feel like I want to vote you in as the father of the nation, because you are encouraging children in your own house to fight each other and tag themselves or brand themselves as goons. But still, I like this team. Like when I listen to Keegan's presentation, I really like the Ruto's team and how smart these guys are. At first, when they need to push Sifuna out came in, believe me, no, according to them, they needed they needed an ODM that they could easily push and pull. But now when Sifuna team is working out, then they realize that this person is not one that we thought he is. So we don't want this person out again. We want him back. But as we want him back, we don't want him to go for the presidential seat. Because if we go for this seat, then it means this guy is more likely running away with Baba's zones. And if you run away with Baba's zones and run crying one term, then it makes sad for us. It only now needs a smart, united opposition to know how they play their cards and easily confirm it as a one term. As I yield on this, and I'm hoping those in the Linda Mwananchi have probably picked up a leaf on how they should define their meetings as a success and not a success. The other, and I mean, as I yield on this, there are few individuals that I still consider them as the coaches that will define 2027 and 2032 elections. And to me, these are the likes of Orengo, and I've mentioned this a number of times, the likes of Orengo and the likes of Kinaoparanya. Probably those in the Keegan's quarter should not even be so keen at Sifuna, but they should be keen at their coaches. The coach is the one that organizes the first 11 in any football arrangement, and they're the ones that are probably the brain behind what is happening. Orengo is a powerful person that can easily make the Oburu faction useless, or to have at least to have some respect or command some respect. If today Oparanya does the same, that if it happens that the Yuda the broad-based team itatokea tu waachilie Oparanya atoke, then believe me, know that the whole Western will be gone. And therefore, I would wish that whoever is advising or whoever is in this other quarter, though I don't believe in them and I don't support them, but if they were smart enough, they should not be looking at the likes of Kinababu Owino, but instead they should be looking at who is the brain behind the movement. The guys are okay, they are politically okay, but they cannot stand if their coaches are removed. If you win their coaches today, then you weaken that team. But it's my prayer that they don't succeed in doing that. I know if they succeed, then the Linda Mwananchi team will be weak. But if they completely don't succeed, then someone will have it hard to win in the coming elections. So allow me to yield on that one.
Asante sana. That is Teacher Wonder, and you talk about the coaches and how to measure your success. Interesting take there. Let me get you to the mic. We do have Nasambu. Greetings to you. And Nasambu, since you're late, you know what to do.
What do you mean I am late? Eh? Kwanza nataka kuchokoza kidogo leo because we are speaking about Sifuna, Linda Mwananchi. For once, Eli amekaa space paka almost saa 9. So we know who the movers and shakers in the country are. And
I know what you're doing, but you have nothing on me. Welcome to the Monday Bigger Picture.
asante sana Eli. Before I start, ninataka complain kidogo Wanda. Wanda, mbona unapeana kadi zetu? Why would you say that last part?
It's because I feel bad as a member of this team when our leaders are making it easier for an opponent to hit us. And
I hear you.
remember this: the opponent team is so tough and they are smart and they have fans.
I hear you. Eli, pole, sijachukua mic yako, nimeacha kuuliza maswali watu wengine. I'll go straight to my points. I will start one with a rebuttal. Someone had indicated that we are supposed to empathize with things that we can relate with, that someone in a lower class cannot be able to empathize with what would happen in someone in a political class. I do not feel bad when someone next to me dies because I know them, or because they're my sisters, or because they're my brother. Empathy makes me feel bad, irrespective of who it is. Anytime I see someone suffering, irrespective of the suffering, whether it's as big as death or it's as small as an administrative process in a political party, so long as it is wrong, if you're human and you're able to empathize, which is majority of the people, whether they are coming from whichever lower class or whichever middle class, it is reasonable for us to empathize. That is what happened to Sifuna. Some of us have gone through administration injustice, or even without, we have capability to empathize, and we empathize, and we continue to empathize for him or any other person who will go through that. And then number 2, yes, the movement, put in quotes, whatever you would want to call it, is reactionary. I agree with Kabuya on that. But I would like to say this. So are the protests in 2024. So was independence. So was any organization. Most organizations that are born in the society that are championing for change are reactive. It is born because if anything is going wrong right now, it will make us rise up in one way or another, either through speaking in space, either organizing out of space, or going even bigger as Sifuna and Babu and the others have done, so that we can champion for change. So it was reactionary, yes, but I think it is morphing into something that is going to be good for the country. And in addition to what Marabu has spoken, many examples that Marabu has pointed to, I would like to point to one area, because we might look at this and just focus on the future and say, oh, tell us what you plan to do. Tell us where you're going to do. And we fail to see the value that this movement is bringing in this current equation. It might be part of the future, we hope so, but also it's doing a lot of this, or a lot of good in the current equation that I want us to point to. And for me, it is one thing. For a long time, for a very long time, we were being told, sisi ni watu wa X. Ground hatuonekani. There is, all we are doing is being X. Hata leo Kabuya ameambiwa ni XMP aspirant. Hata mimi nimeambiwa kitu kama hiyo. But this Sifuna's movement brought, wacha niseme Linda Mwananchi movement brought something. It has made people go into this, into like starting following political movements, attending those events, something that most younger people were not doing. Something that most younger people were not relating to voluntarily. But now mtu atalipa tiketi yake amue kwenda huko. And I believe for me that will translate even to voting. Because the moment you're charged and you're told what is wrong and you attend the event, you see what is not good, I believe that is going to that attendance is going to translate to a vote. So for me, that is the value I see through this movement. And the second value is just when you look at those podiums, you will see their podium is very crowded. It would have around 100, 200 people. Most of them are even standing. What does that symbolize for me? Inclusivity. Come all, come one. And you will see different age brackets, and you will see different genders, and you will see people without title, and you will see people without background. For me, that is the value that that is bringing to the equation, and I think it's important for us to point that out. And even as we continue speaking in these spaces, even as in our own individual capacity, we continue with different initiatives on to hold the government accountable, to hold the MPs accountable, to have people who have the manpower and the bigger voice and the money congregate and do the same things as we are. That is a plus for us. That is a plus for the country. And then finally, I'm going to finalize on this point. I think people, many times we say, oh, you're coming to me, you're asking me to elect you. What is the value that you bring to the equation? What are you planning for us for the future? And that is what I think today's conversation has been centering around. For me, I would like to say this. You look at the present action to determine what the future will be. And I am looking at some of the people in Linda Mwananchi, and I see what they speak to. For example, Sifuna says something as simple as right to life is important. Today we are here and we are saying the best thing that happened in Kisumu is someone did not die. We've been reduced as a country to celebrate lack of death in one political initiative. To have someone who keeps telling us every day, it is not normal for people to die. It is not okay for us to accept death and number it as every other statistic. For me, I feel like that is a symbol of what he's going to stand for in future. And looking at him also as he speaks in parliament about devolution, on matters accountability, attending Senate, as simple as attending Senate, because there are people who do not. Paid on a monthly basis, something around 700,000, but they do not attend. And we have someone here who we can see through their actions and maybe look at it as a symbol of what they're capable to do in future. For me, I think I am looking at that and it symbolizes what is going to be the future, because I cannot ask them for a manifesto right now as who? They are to give me a manifesto right now as who? So I see Ila's hand, and I'm going to stop at this point and say, Sifuna said, Sisi ni Sifuna. And the big thing he sees out of that is, even if he steps out of the equation, because we are many people who resonate with that message, a lot of us will continue with the message. So for me, that speaks to, we are not following a person, but we are following a principle, embodiment of the plight of the people of Kenya. If he steps away, sisi wengine tunaendelea. Pole Eli, I am stopping at that. Asante.
Thank you very much, Nasambu. And I love the fact that you paid attention to my hand, because you realize we are out of time. Great submissions, great issues you're raising, and you just acknowledge wewe ama nyinyi ni Sifuna. We will see how that turns out. Wow, time is really flying. And apologies if I'm not taking any more mics. We can't do this the rest of the night, but I'm sure there are a lot of able space hosts who are also joining tonight, and I'm sure they'll be hosting spaces. We can always join and raise our voices, because we need to continue having these conversations. I would love to listen to one of the new speakers first. Edgar, if you don't mind, please don't exceed 5 minutes. The mic is yours. Edgar, check your mic, please, kindly.
Eli, can you hear Edgar?
Kindly mute Edgar from the mic, if you don't mind, Obets. I'm unable to remove him from the mic. A lot of noise coming from his end. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. It happens a lot. Static voice and noise, especially when you are using a laptop to stream. Let's go to who is not yet spoken. I think we are around the room. But I'd love to conclude this by asking a minute from Redemptor. Then we'll have Western, and then we'll have Justice in that order. Kindly.
I'll keep it short. I think even has come and told us Sifuna ni kama ni wao. And I said when all this started, I said the symbolism of one man is not that when you take that one, that's why I talked about Sankara being shot and Patrice Lumumba only being prime minister for under 90 days. I think someone has rightfully said that it's so interesting to see the smartest person in terms of strategy always focuses on buying people. And how many people can you buy? There are people you cannot buy. So I learned this conversation by saying, I think Obed baited me by talking about right to life and people not dying. We are not accepting an assemble when someone saying hatukukubali mtu akufe so that Gachagua this, and that was really all out. You're acknowledging you refused to kill. You had the power to kill, but you didn't kill. So I wasn't going to that direction, not to stereotype. I think it was a challenge to me for me, it's a celebration because unfortunately, there's no value for life in terms of our need to stay in power. So I'll say this, when we started looking for leaders and people saw there was a vacuum and they said, now I'm the leader of the Gen Zs. The minute people didn't trust you, they dropped you like a hot cake. We are in an era of discernment that has never been seen around the world. There's social disruption going on. I think my minute is up, but I'll say this. I never knew I would live also to see people from the West, developed world, saying we are coming for your oil, we are going to do a Venezuela on you. There's just a level of arrogance of people who are all powerful when they start saying what they will do. And I think I'll always finish Marabu, and you guys know I'll always talk about matters divine, matters spiritual, matters mystical. So there's a lot of going on behind the scenes. There are people who will never talk politics, but they fast and pray for this nation. There's also the torch that is still torching us. I think the young people who died in 2024, 2025, they keep us going. Wanatumulikia the path so that we keep talking about that they did not die for us to go back to the tribal cocoons. And it's interesting, we've talked about Linda Mwananchi, we've talked about going to Kisumu, and we've forgotten kuna Mudavadi na kuna Weta, so that for me, that tells you something shifted drastically. And it's the end of an era. Even if we keep comparing with 1992, 1997, it's a new generation. There's a dispensation and an awakening and discernment that has never been seen. We're also dealing with digital natives, and we are in a liberation moment. And nobody predicts what happens in this moment. No one predicts who they are going to put in their pocket, who are going to buy. I see that hand. Thank you very much for the audience. And yeah, Kenya is greater than just these few individuals. And I always say, because we talked about life and death, anyone wishing young people short life, we wish them a short life too.
Asante sana Redemptor. I appreciate your submission, and I do hope that you have listened to what he's talking about, death and life. Weston.
Is it Eli? Eli, somebody cut me short when I was speaking. They cut me short.
That was me, because I needed to correlate what you're saying with the other speaker who was invited to give us their take on Linda Mwananchi. It wasn't intentional. It was contextual matters. Go ahead.
Look, Eli, you can deny what is being stated through assertions, not by providing any evidence. Let me ask you, go to Sierra County and give me a report of James Orengo's tenure of office as governor. Go to Sierra. Just go to Sierra. Yeah, he's exemplary. He's teaching young people on how to do politics, how to govern. Go to Sierra. Or if you don't want to go to Sierra, go to the Auditor General report. James Orengo's tenure record as governor of Sierra. Pathetic. Extremely pathetic. It's one county, and I have it on authority. People were hired the other day, even some who didn't even show up for interview. They were hired. The EAC is here to intervene, and some of those people were offloaded These things are there in the public domain. Yeah, he's exemplary. He can replace this government and he will show us how to govern, clean governance. Okay, it's fine. Oparanya, go to Kakamega. Didn't he have issues with the ESCC? So anybody who is opposed to William Ruto qualifies for moral rectitude. No, we can't demolish the bar like that when it comes to governance. We cannot. And I'm saying, listen when I speak, I'm saying, if you are a secretary general of a political party, Eli Obets, you call your president mediocre. How can you work together? Tell me. You are a deputy president. You call the president mediocre or foolish publicly. How can the two of you continue working together? And you, how can you say this person is being victimized? How can you say that? He's being victimized by who? In any organization that is in subordination and will attract sanction in a civilized, normal society, we are cynics. We're just cynics. We are not for Kenya that works. We're cynics. I'm telling you. You don't attend meetings as Secretary General. They put there's a seat for you. You don't show up, but you're busy in press conferences, contradicting party positions. The person is being victimized. Eli Obet, in which society? Help me understand. In which society? Okay, the other person is Rigathi. Okay, did you read the charges against him during the impeachment? Which victimhood are you talking about here? You can face such charges. How many Kenyans can face such charges? Owing to social status, where you say we can sympathize of Eli Obets, I'm saying reactionary that Kabuya was talking about is not reactive. People are responding to him, they're talking about reactive. The word is reactionary, conservative politics. You're opposed to radical change. That's what that word means in the Marxist sense. A reactionary person is a person who is opposed to political and economic change that overhauls the economic architecture and the politics of the society. They are attuned to the traditional way of doing things. Gender studies, they will tell you these are people who are opposed to gender parity. Those are reactionaries, conservative people. It's not reactive. And this is what they are. So Babu Wino will tell you about goons. The guy who was walking around the guns and shooting DJs, leaving them paraplegic. Yeah, you can tell who is a goon and who is not. Yeah, because he favors your politics, Eli. Or bets.
But you know, you've exaggerated that to
Western,
say DJs. It was one
this is
DJ.
not about us.
Western, it was
Actually,
one DJ who
No,
was shot.
it's not you. Because you are chairs. I'm not referring to you.
No. There's
Because you are
something
chairs.
I'm trying to say as well. There's something I'm trying to say, and I respect what you're saying. However, what would be the solution for, because it's easy to point and say none of the people in the political class.
Can I finish? You interrupt. Can I finish? It's not
the
what
problem
is
is we are running on the clock. 8 minutes to end this show. We need you
to
to finish.
Let me complete.
Please.
Let me just finish. It's not what is the solution. It is this. Look at the logic. The logic is this. William Ruto is an unmitigated failure. But you can't bring people who are equally failed as alternatives. There's no logic there. It's not a solution. This incumbent has failed the people of Kenya. Now you bring people who have equally failed as alternatives. That's the question I'm asking. Is there any logic there? Is there any logic? A tire is deflated. You want to change, you go pick another tire that is deflated. Where are you going? Do you even know what you're doing? And then I'm saying this, Linda Mwananchi, any time you hear about a politician talking about protecting people, that's a scammer. Politicians
so
never.
What is your yardstick of failure? Because the persons of interest right now, and specifically, let me take one specific example, is Senator Edwin Sifuna. The other person of interest is President William Ruto and his administration. What metrics are you using to indicate that this one is a deflated tire?
I said I'm not going to discuss politics or personalities. Hear me. I will not respond to that question.
So what are you telling us then? Because we don't understand you, sir.
Oh, I'm talking about institutions. Didn't I say that at the beginning?
So which institution is it that Sifuna is representing that is failed? That's my question.
For president, a person who does not even have a political party. He doesn't have even members. He's not even declared running for president. You conclude already he's running for president.
We didn't conclude that, sir. We didn't conclude that.
So when you ask me,
hold on, Western.
Where do you get that?
Hear me out.
Where?
If you look at our topic, it's framed Linda Mwananchi Redefining National Politics. Now, if you decide to mention Edwin Sifuna and deflated tires and contextualize it with the current incumbent and say he has failed us, so these other people are not.
Sifuna. I did not mention anybody. You are the one who's putting Sifuna there.
But I'm saying he doesn't appear in Senate sittings. He's appearing in TV interviews.
ODM meetings, Eli, please. I know you are biased, you people, but can you just be logical?
Biased. I am asking you a question to clarify.
ODM meetings, not Senate meetings. ODM meetings.
So why are you stating that you didn't mention him and you did?
What do you mean? I did not mention him as a presidential candidate. And I'm saying there's a lady here who talks about sympathizing with Sifuna, and I'm saying Sifuna's tribulations are disciplinary in ODM. Hear me, they're disciplinary. Where his party has evidence to believe that he has gone against party protocol and values. That's what I'm talking about. You should know this. Isn't he facing a disciplinary?
Is he a deflated tire that we cannot say or suggest is going to be the next one in line?
Just move away from personalities. You can put the united opposition if that will make you happy. Remove Sifuna, put the so-called united opposition.
I'll be off topic. I will be off topic. I don't want to do that.
But there's no Sifuna here in your topic. So why do you invoke his name? There's no Sifuna in your topic.
The Mwananchi Brigade is the non-poster faces are Edwin Sifuna, Babu Owino, and the young people that were on this X space earlier on. That is why we are pursuing that question.
Then what is the issue with my submission then? What is the problem?
I want to understand why you say they are not an alternative, because we've said they are redefining national politics.
DJs with the guns are alternative. Eli, please, can we be sensible as
it's one DJ that was shot by.
Yes, you want them to shoot 10, 11,
no, that's
20,
not what I said. You are misrepresenting facts. That's the problem.
No, but I'm saying you want them to shoot 20 DJs for you to understand.
No, when you add S
legal
on it, it becomes more than one. It's a plural term. It's no longer one DJ.
Sensible. This country cannot be changed when we're not sensible. That's what I'm saying. So if he shoots a DJ, do you know of a country where a member of parliament could shoot a citizen and they continue serving? Show me one country.
In the last space, you said governments kill, so do politicians. So why is it different now? Because you see, the problem is changing positions.
I said state. I said state. I did not say government. I said the state.
All right.
But we know the state. Is he part of the state? Is he? Is he the state? Is he? Is not. I said the state.
You have interesting takes, Western. I'll allow you to land. Go ahead.
Let me conclude.
I think with due respect, I request for one thing. It's easy to make a point. We don't shout over each other, and there is no use doing what we are doing because we are wasting more time. I would appreciate if Western, you make your submission in the next 3 minutes and uninterrupted. Eli, let him be heard in silence and we conclude the space.
Well guided. It wasn't interruption. I wanted clarity, which was not provided. Thank you.
Western, that's your cue to make your to continue with your remarks and conclude.
I think we lost Western. Let's go to the next one. Edgar, the mic is yours. 3 minutes.
Okay, good evening, Eli.
Greetings to you, Edgar. Welcome back.
Okay, thank you.
My mic was off. I didn't notice. It was off. I was speaking, but my mic was off.
Not a problem. You have 3 minutes, Western, to conclude your submission.
So what I'm saying is this, Obet. You see, I don't come on this space to persuade anybody to agree with me. Could you please just, people are here, stop doing it. I'm not here to persuade anybody to agree with me. I come here to share my reading
Western,
of.
again, with a lot of respect, we are here to have a conversation. We can agree to disagree.
Isn't that
It
what I'm
means
doing,
nothing.
Obed? So
There is no assumption. There is
what
no
do you want me
assumption.
to say?
Hear me out. Okay, Western, just hold on. There is no one who's suggesting they have anybody has inferior opinions or you're here to persuade anybody to buy your opinion. What we are asking for is we're having conversations. Your point of view, our point of view. Agree to disagree. And if there's a line of questioning and it's not agreeable, it is okay. Just say that is not correct position. So I would appreciate conclude your
There were own goals here. There were own goals. If you listen, there were own goals here. When somebody says uses George W. Bush to make some jab against Cuba, a country that has stood up to imperialism for almost 70 years, that person does not understand global politics. Yes, it's an own goal. When a person says, Babu Wino says he's going to go to Nyanza people and tell them who to vote for, that person is scoring an own goal. That is the kind of politics people don't want, to be told who to vote for. But you're not interrupting these people when they say these things. You don't ask them questions, but they are change agents. We will come and tell you who to
Western,
vote for.
I hold you to more. I hold you because you have the intelligence and capacity to understand and know. And that's exactly the reason why I would ask you to clarify, because you are in a capacity to be able to help people to understand better. I am not saying this because
So I'm saying Linda Mwananchi and so-called United Opposition, these are one and the same people. In fact, Linda Mwananchi people are Uhuru Kenyatta's lackeys. Political activity is expensive. Where did these people get money? There's somebody who's funding them, and it's Uhuru Kenyatta. So these are the people who have messed up the country. You want them also to come back through proxies and mess up the country? Like, we're cynics as a country. We're just cynics. And I'm saying 2027 elections is not about politics.
Obed, I think you're giving Western a lot of airtime to mislead people.
Wanda,
Let
him finish his submission.
Yes.
I think it's fair that he does.
I know these views are very unconventional, but they should be unconventional because this is a multi-party democracy.
Western, we give you the latitude to make your submissions. Please conclude your submission.
2027 elections, Obed, let me put it to you, and you can wait for that election and call me after the results have been announced, who will have won. And I can tell you William Ruto would have won. Because that election will not be about policy, about where Kenya wants to go. That election will be about who is more cynical than the other. To put it differently, a person who has got more gunpowder will win that election. And I'm saying it now. You can quote me on that. After that election, you can call me and tell me the results, who will have won. And I'm telling you, this incumbent will retain power.
I take it that that's your final remark. And I think in all fairness, there's a lot of appreciation for the time everybody takes to sit on the spaces and make their contribution with a lot of respect. But nobody has superior opinion than the other. We are here to have a conversation about our country, what is working and what is not working, and what we think can be done to improve this country. Some of the things can be outrageous as they sound, some are factual, but it's conversations. So, and God, let's not get offended, man. Nobody is better than the other. Let me allow Eli, who was the last person? Edgar, you have 5 minutes. We're concluding the space after Edgar.
Okay, fine. Good evening. Am I
Edgar,
audible?
we can hear you. Please make your contribution.
Okay, thank you. So first, I'm great of what Sifuna and the team are doing. And I think that is the first foot forward, like trying to change how politics are being done in our country. Are they perfect? No, they are not like 100% perfect, but it's the right route that we are taking, trying to see something different. How I pray that they do not join the DCP group and the group, because if they join in, they'll be diluted by that group. whatever might happen, even if it will by the time you're getting into election, even if it's going to split the vote of the opposition, for me, I'll be for it. Let it split, but let's build. Let's build politics and change politics the way we know it. We know it usually. And then the other, another concern that I have, can the Linda Mwananchi group create, maybe perhaps they should look into Vision 2030 as a country. Let's have an agenda as a country, in that anyone who's being brought in as a president, they will have to stick to that agenda, the one that has been agreed upon as a country. So anyone who's vying for president, let us judge them by not what they are bringing, but what they are going to implement, what the citizens have agreed on. So I think, because right now, I'm sure if you are to Gachagua is to become the president tomorrow, we know what he's going to do. He's going to scrap away like 90% of what Ruto is doing right now. And what will that do to our economy? Most of the things like that already money has been invested into it, gone down the drain. Because that is what happened when Ruto came in, the same thing happened. It took us some years back. Look at NHIF and SHA. I think the most prudent thing it would have been for NHIF to be improved upon, and then as we move forward. Because now this thing that every president comes in with his own thing, I think we should move away from that. Let's have an agenda as a nation. And as I finish, I'm very much concerned because right now, look at our, okay, let's say the united oppositions. How many MPs do we have in the united oppositions? Quite a lot. How many senators do we have in the united opposition? Quite a lot. But all these people, apart from a few, like I can say Sifuna is always in Senate, championing what the common Mwananchi should be. But now, what about the rest? Because now, if now all these political leaders, they will abscond from their duties, and then guess what? Ruto will be there busy taking loans and everything. And when the next government comes in, guess what? That's the government that is going to pay for these loans. And now, what happens when that government needs to pay for these loans? It means that they have to increase taxes. And then we remain being in the same cycle of this person comes in, says, like, I'll reduce the burden, but now they don't watch over for the current government. The current government will just do whatever it wants to do, because the person who wants to become the president tomorrow, right now, he's busy in rallies and doesn't check the government. And if you don't check the government, the mistake that they will do will come and eat you up later. So whichever agenda that you'll have for the people, it will be so hard for you to come and implement that agenda. Yeah, because you didn't check the government when you are supposed to have when you are supposed to be checking the government. So that is my submission.
Court FM. Let the music play.
And I think it's important that we stick to what is. And as you say, the people who want to check government also have to be careful not to be able to do that job they have assigned themselves. Wonder and Justice, I see your hands are up. I give you each 2 minutes, exactly 2 minutes.
I'll actually not even take 2 minutes. I was listening to Weston do the submission, and he only reminds me of Sifuna versus Ojienda's debate on Citizen TV. Weston is always a very brilliant speaker, clear facts. But now today, Weston comes in with the facts that when you put on a timeline, they are not okay. Like when Weston comes and tells us that Sifuna was given a seat, I know we'll get back there, but I don't want us to go there. I'm only looking at it.
End up in a scenario where it's going to end up in a scenario where he has a right of reply, and I don't think it will be fair.
Okay, then
Make your conclusion, and let's
let
allow
me
that.
make my conclusion based on the chair. The chair, if tomorrow Wanda comes to do a submission and present a case, then allow me to be able to substantiate. When I say Uhuru, then let me come up with the bank slips. Let me come up with a backup so that I don't end up soiling people's name. I don't up misleading other persons with facts that are not factual. Robert.
Thanks, Teacher Wanda. Teacher. Justice, 2 minutes.
Unajua leo wewe tutakosana na wewe alafu we sort this out. I've been here. I only spoke once, by the way, at the beginning, and then baadaye tukifungo, Eli started telling us that we'll have 5 minutes closing, and then everybody else was given 5 minutes. Ikifika wakati wa Wanda na mimi, we're like, oh, now you have 2 minutes. You have to close. Wait. I'm using my time. If it's my 2 minutes, itaisha by kuteta is fine. Oh, sasa mko na 2 minutes. Western took 9 fucking minutes. Sorry, I cussed.
Bad language
So
again.
my point is this. So please, can you be fair so that we can rebut on nonsenses that have been spewed here, which don't even add value to humanity, so that we all have equal time to rebut. We have equal time to respond. In reality, Eli was spot on to ask very basic, I'm calling basic question to Western that he could not answer. He actually spews this thing of coming out like he's the smartest person in the room. When he's cornered, he gets angry. He gets angry, and then he does not answer to anything. Wait,
Can you stop this guy?
It's my time. It's my time. It's my time.
I didn't mention this guy. Did I?
It's my time. It's my time.
Why is he so enraged? Did I mention him?
Wow.
It's my time.
Gentlemen.
This guy comes to stress as brand. He has no audacity.
Gentlemen, we cannot do that.
You have to hear one thing. Everyone and contributions. I would not appreciate that this forum becomes a place where people are going to do what you're trying to do. We have run Mizani 254 for a period of time. Justice, you've been part of this and you know. We do not hold brief for anyone. We are not affiliated to any political party, or do we have any sponsors. I would appreciate if it becomes difficult that we cannot have a conversation. I'm okay not having any of you in the space, with a lot of respect. We do this for purposes of conversations. It's been important that we stick to what is correct. I wouldn't appreciate character assassination. Everybody has their viewpoint and it's correct and in order. And because of what has transpired, Eli, with your permission, I say it gets to a point where we appreciate the time and effort taken. Thank you for the contributions. And at this point, allow me to end the space, and we'll have another space another time, and hope we can be more disciplined and respect each other. We start with Mizani spaces and we say, respect every person's opinion. We do. We allow people to make their conversations and contributions. I respect each and every one of you. I've been here, we've been here for almost, we are supposed to do 2 hours. It's midnight in Nairobi. So because of what has happened, I appreciate politics is emotive and people can say what they say. At this point, with your approval and permission, I will end the space, Eli. And thank you so much for your time. It's been a good and wonderful space. Have a lovely night and evening, and wherever you are, good day. Thank you. God bless.
All right. Thank you very much. I appreciate you, Obets. I'm trying to get my mic unmuted. All right. Looks like. Thank you very much. I think that was it, and looking forward to the next one. Obeds, you literally muted me too, so I couldn't proceed to make my conclusion. But anyway, this happens a lot, and it is needed to have these conversations because Well, that was quite a heated debate, and it brings us to the end of the conversations. Have yourselves a good one. Good night.